Welcome everyone to the What Are We Doing Here podcast. I've got one of my best friends in the whole wide world with me here today. I've known him for over 10 years. He was my groomsman at my wedding. He's an aspiring and up-and-coming comedian, and I've seen him naked, unfortunately. And he's just one of the best guys I've ever had the pleasure of knowing. Please welcome Mr. Joseph Winchell.
The person to do that was?
Who?
First, I think at least the first
I'm
time.
recording, by the way.
Don't tell me.
Okay. Well, no,
I didn't know you were going to get
saying.
something so off the cuff. No, the first time I heard it was the Nerdist podcast. That for like, oh, they're starting mid conversation. That's cool.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, they always do that on Two Bears, One Cave.
Yeah, everybody does that now.
I'm eventually going to do some like Philips Hue bulbs in here.
What for your studio?
Yeah, when I start doing video.
Are you doing the upstairs room like I told you, your little man cave? You're gonna turn into a studio?
No, I'm going to use the office on the first floor because upstairs in the summertime it just gets too hot. There's an air conditioning unit in there, but
I could see that
the air conditioning unit it's too loud and with the background noise and shit like that.
Yeah, I do a show with my buddy Keith called Fairfax with Fairfax.
Mm-hmm.
You've listened to it before. I've shouted you out on that show.
I've commented on it.
Yeah, we have like he's got a great room. It's got like
he's got a pretty sweet setup. Yeah, exactly.
It's like in there. It's like just a table and some chairs, but it's like the room's like when you close the door, you can't hear any of the outside. But it's it's a sweat box. So we got all the fans going. But every time you do it, it sounds like old man Marley's mowing the lawn in the middle of anything we're talking about.
Yeah, I mean, my biggest obstacle right now is the dog. If he starts barking, if he sees the mailman.
Oh, what's his name?
Petey.
Pepe?
Pete. Pepe?
You see, I'm old school, so I as far as I'm concerned, you still had Romare.
Oh yeah,
I missed that dog.
Yeah,
I missed that
little
dog.
Romage, yeah.
Romage. Oh my god.
Yeah. So
you want to do your intro?
I was just gonna say we should probably do some intros here.
It's your show, baby.
Ladies and gentlemen, we've got a very special guest here with me today.
The second ever guest.
My second guest, after my first guest, which was my dad, Carl Ibsen.
I'm his uncle. This is just family
Uncle
stuff.
Joe. No, this is one of my best friends in the whole wide world. I've known him for well over 10 years now. Mr. Joseph Winchell.
Hello. Was the applause drop?
I'll throw it in. I'll throw it in.
All right.
So actually, one of the things I was going to do in post-production was throw in a little bit of like eerie Halloween music, since it's the Halloween episode.
It's that time of year.
No, it's just because you're my guest, and it's horrific.
I love Halloween.
Yeah, of course. So Joe.
Yeah, what's up?
Tell the world a little bit about yourself, will you?
What do you mean tell the world? This is great.
Well,
I told you to work on your interview skills. And this is all right. No, I will.
No. I mean, I was gonna let you do the big reveal, but my good friend Joe here, he is a. Oh, hold on a minute, I just heard that. I'm gonna join you. There we go.
What? I'm drinking root beer. What are you drinking?
Beer. That's what I'm drinking. It's pumpkin flavored, so it's for the season.
I can't drink it.
Yeah.
I can't drink at 2 p.m. like I used to.
Listen, the people didn't know when this was being recorded. Now everyone thinks I'm an alcoholic. Fantastic. For all they knew, this could have been an 8 p.m. podcast.
Dude, you're whatever, man. Like you're at your house. This is natural. Like who gives a shit? What are you doing?
It's
like
my day off. Fuck off.
Are you wandering around your house dressed in like? Do you have like what is that like Howard Hawks towards the end when he had like tissue boxes on his feet and you're just like slugging gin? Like you're not like.
Well, I mean, the lights are on in the house, which is fine. I'm not in a dark room, so that's half the battle right there. I am wearing my robe.
Yeah, you're always wearing your robe,
and I've got a Old Smoky Moonshine cooler filled with a couple beers.
Do you have an Old Smoky cooler?
When I was in Tennessee a couple weeks ago.
Dude, how much was that thing out of curiosity?
It was actually free because
It was free.
I bought so many jars of moonshine, they gave me a free cooler.
So it wasn't free.
Yeah, I suppose.
They lied to you. So I don't know how to tell you.
They always get you one way or another. They always get you.
Because What do you mean? I got it for free. I only had to spend $500 on booze. What are you talking about?
Yeah, I got that in Gatlinburg at the Old Smoky Moonshine place. Yeah,
cool.
So I
had
drove all the way to Tennessee to get moonshine. I can get literally right down the road from me.
That's where I got that. Remember that Sloonshine shit that I got like years ago? Like when we were on our moonshine kick, and I was like, "This is the best ever." And then like I couldn't find it forever. And you had who the hell? You had Ryan. Your buddy Ryan.
We got a little crazy with that.
That shit was the best, man, because
we got a little I had to look at myself in the mirror at one point because I remember it was like we just started drinking it during a show that we went to go see, and I was like, are we doing this too much? is this starting to take over our lives?
Wait, was it a Broadway show?
No, that's acceptable. Yeah, it's a show in Suffolk. That's acceptable to do it on Broadway. Listen, if I'm paying $130 for a ticket, I'm going to drink whatever the fuck I want during a Broadway show.
Dude,
but
do you remember those guys?
This was at Suffolk. It was one of those things. I think it was you, me, and Justin. I think we were in your car, and we were like, we did not want to go see the show, but we knew the rap.
Yeah, what show is this? I remember this. Let's call it out and name everybody in the cast right now on the air.
No, the thing is, I mean, neither of us were in the show, obviously. So
I wasn't.
That's what I'm saying. Through process of elimination, we should be able to, in theory, to figure out what show it was.
Yeah, but like, and I'm not. We'll talk about Suffolk later, but like, every once in a while, like, you'll get, there was this thing that would happen. I don't mean to get so like theater, by the way, anybody who's listening to this, but I won't go too like weird deep into it. But like me and Jay, went to school for theater together, and there was a lot of really great shows that came out of the department, wouldn't you say? There was a lot of great shows.
100%. That's the reason why
there was some phenomenal stuff. Yeah, there was some phenomenal stuff.
I got my doctorate in a community college.
Yeah, but we had a good teacher.
Yeah,
like 100%. We had a really, really good teacher. But I like there'd be an amazing show like that you could make a good argument for. Like you probably could have maybe at least toured this somewhere, like not like on the big level, but like you could have brought this around. And then there's other shows that is just like, I saw a high school production of this show and that was better.
Yeah. Yeah, there was some what's the word I'm looking for?
Crap?
Yeah. I mean, there's really no other way to say it is and
I don't mean, this sounds so mean. I'm not downing anybody. Like I'm not like saying there's just anybody who went to that school.
I don't want to say there was an abundance of hot garbage, but every now and then
there's a good amount of hot garbage.
Yeah. Every now and then there'd be something that came to the table and I think you and I would be like, send it back. What are we doing here?
We couldn't. We had to stay in the heart. We were always like, not always, but I know you and I were in some hot garbage.
Listen, I was an expert in hot garbage. Okay. I was in a lot. I've done 2 shows there, which will remain nameless, that, they invented
all the shows that I
they were invented, apart from me. They were not even, there was no actual part that was supposed to be in that show, and the director was in their infinite genius. They were like,
"You can name it. I'm just gonna say I know that show, and it's a Shakespeare play." And you're absolutely right.
That's one of two.
And I would just want to say something about this because I remember I met you.
Well, I'm glad this came up organically. We should probably talk about the day we met.
Oh yeah, like I said, we'll start with the jumping off point. All this stuff, all this preface you'll hear later. I met you. I've always said this. Like I get asked like nowadays because we're a little older, so like you start reminiscing on shit. And when you hang out with people for a very long time, you tend to ask like, "Hey, how did we?" Like it just comes up. Mm-hmm. And for the life of me, I don't know if it's the immense amount of excess that my 20s was that I just drank away memories. But I don't remember exactly how I met everybody exactly, but I remember the moment, the day, and the conversation that you and I had when I first met you. And you were an usher for Rocky Horror, weren't you? Because they were doing again, we went to school for theater, and the show.
I was injured. And I went and said,
I remember the knee brace. Yeah.
I had a knee brace on. It fucked up my knee, and I had to rock a knee brace, which means I couldn't really audition for the show at that time.
But I thought you did. because you were supposed. I remember, like I thought you told me like, oh, I was supposed to be in it, then I got hurt. Excuse me.
No, I was never supposed to be in it. I went and auditioned, and it was like probably the worst audition of my life because I'm not going to blame everything. It was just I couldn't move. I couldn't move around. I had the fucking knee brace on, and it was just like I'm here because I'm supposed to audition. I'd like to do the show, but my the physicality, I always felt like physicality was one of my strong suits when it came to auditions because I'm a big guy and everyone's expecting this Chris Farley character to come out and start doing fucking cartwheels. And it's a fun show, but I couldn't make any use of that during that audition.
Well, you were injured too.
I couldn't move. I could barely move during that whole time.
So I remember like sitting in what was the lobby at the time. And like it was before the show, before they let everybody in, and I was like kind of just sitting. And I really liked that show. That was the show that made me, because I originally didn't go to that campus. I only took 2 classes at that campus,
right?
And I was going to the Riverhead School. I was actually a film major.
What? I did not know that.
Yeah, it's still like me. I fucking love movies, and I just to this day I said like, and with all the comedy, I didn't even say like I started doing comedy about almost a year and a half ago. Which is honestly, it was 10 years too late because everybody told me to do it when I was 20. But like I loved that show so much. I just thought because that was, and I'll drop this name because we love him. That was a Stephen Lanticafro production, and they basically rebuilt the movie set. Like it was like a really fucking bonkers.
The production value on that show was, you said it best, bonkers. The production value on it, they spent a shitload of money on that whole thing to have a live band there in the pit, and
it was fucking crazy because
they spared no expense.
Yeah, it was, but it's crazy because you go in with preconceived notions of a community college, and like. That was one of the reasons that I'm like, oh, okay, well, I'm in a good spot. Like
there was, I hate to admit this, but I had been there. I don't know how many years I've been there. Let's just say I was there 6 years too long.
Yeah, we all were. Don't worry about it.
But I can honestly say it's quite an accomplishment to go ahead and sell out a show in the Shea Theater. I don't know how many.
That was the only one that did it.
No.
I think it's still the only one.
St. Crispin's did it once before, but again, that was
Rocky almost did it, right?
No, Rocky did it several times, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, I thought they only did it.
Think about it, man. Like for Long Island,
so hard to.
My dad always told me Long Island. He grew up in Uniondale, Long Island, and
I thought he grew up in Freeport.
No, I grew up in Freeport. He grew up in
Uniondale. Yeah, wrong Ibsen.
Wrong Ibsen, exactly. He used to, it was very, very prevalent where they would do like Rocky Horror shows at one of the movie theaters. And
they still do that shit.
I have never seen it done, but apparently it was a big thing in like the late 70s and early 80s. So when it came to town finally here, I'm sure the word got out when people went and saw it. You know what I mean? So I'm assuming there's some nostalgia that is associated with it, which is the reason why it did so well. And you're going to get that. I mean, it's a famous show. It's not like it's not like they're throwing in a Moliere play that no one knows about, and like I gotta go invite grandma so I can fill in the seats. You know what I mean? Like there's not, there's a lot of people out there who think that Shakespeare sells. To a certain point, it does, but I think you grasp more of an audience when you do something as famous as Rocky Horror Picture Show.
Well, Rocky Horror, like, first of all, I love that you dropped look at your theater brain. You're like, it's not like anybody just putting up Moliere. Nobody who's listening to this is going to know who the fuck Moliere is. You're hilarious.
And then there you go. My point proves itself right there.
Look how smart Jason Ibsen is.
Listen, I did a Moliere play. I still don't know what the fuck it's about. I still have no idea what it's about. To this day, I still have no idea.
Wasn't that the one where all of you guys played servants, like, or something like that? Yeah. That was what it was. Yeah, nobody knows. Look, this is the worst podcast ever because everybody's like, "What the fuck are these two talking about?"
Exactly. Listen, folks, it was hot garbage. That's what it was.
No, we're gonna get to
people might think we're uncultured by saying that. A lot of people's defense was like, Ibsen, you just don't get it. You just don't get it, man. And okay, I don't get it. Sure.
Who said that to you?
I don't know. No. We're not doing that. I don't want to insult anybody. At least
it's
on purpose,
that kind of podcast.
Yeah, I don't want to insult anybody on purpose. By accident, it's
right.
forgivable, but not on purpose.
All right.
Yeah.
But yeah, we stayed for too long. I had some fun times at that fucking school, though, man.
Yeah.
I really did. Like, I mean, there's moments that I wouldn't trade for the life of. Like, I saw so many fucked up things that, like, I learned a lot. I definitely.
We're gonna get into that later on, but you
I'm just saying. I love that
a little teaser when it came to how we met, but you never actually said it.
Oh yeah, so I'm sorry, we got off the track.
That's gonna
basically
happen a lot.
Like I was whatever. I remember like I was sitting in the lobby and you were like you were all in the black button up and everything like that. And I remember just like I've always been good at just kind of sparking up conversation and everything, and somehow, some way, it literally just we got on a Nick Cage movie, and I have a deep affinity I love Nick Cage. I love his bad, his good. I love him at his Vampire's Kiss, and I love him at his Con Airs. You know what I mean? Like he's just he's like a train wreck of an actor, but he's also like, you know what I mean?
I was actually on the phone with Zappetti last night, and I told him that you were going to do my podcast today, and I'm like, and he was like, what are you doing right now? And he goes, I'm just watching Ghost Rider. I've been watching a lot of Nick Cage movies recently, and I'm like, you know what? Me and Joe are actually going to be talking about that tomorrow because that's how we met.
Yo, like on a real note, like I remember just because here's the thing, and I don't mean, this is not me again bashing theater or anything like that, but like I always came in I hate when people actors will like shit on Nick Cage because he's not, I don't know, Daniel Day-Lewis or whatever, and I'm just kind of like, dude, fuck you. That man has the actor balls of an elephant. Yeah. Like he's like, what do you need? I'm gonna do the most insane thing possible, and if that works, whatever.
Yeah.
Nobody's that bold. No fucking college. You know how many college kids take themselves so fucking seriously? I dare you to just go up there and scream like an animal. Right. Scream like an animal and flap around the stage and tell me you're a vampire. Then I'll be like, all right, maybe there's something here. Don't this goddamn timid. Everybody's got to be inside themselves now. That's what it is. I've got to go in the corner and cry for 3 hours, and then I'm going to go perform.
Well, I mean, I don't know. I always thought it was like a safe thing. You know,
what do you mean a safe thing?
Well, I mean, some people are just, I feel like a lot of that time it was like they were all about themselves and just playing it safe.
Yeah, no,
I had
it is.
no
and like, I'm not
looking like a fool on stage. And you know what? I'm going to go ahead.
Neither did I.
For this person's credit, I'll go ahead and give a shout out to this person because this is a compliment. Mike Fails. My man.
Oh, Mike, one of my good friends.
Elephant balls. This guy's got dinosaur balls. When he gets on stage, I feel like at least he's a great bullshit artist if he doesn't believe in himself. But if not, my man just goes on stage, zero fear, steady.
No, I was just hanging out with Mike last night. Mike's also hello audience, just so you know the cast of characters. Mike is a tremendous actor, a great performer. Actually, the guy who pushed me to do stand-up comedy finally. Mm-hmm. And he is fucking he's just, you're right. That dude, like,
and a sweetheart of a guy. Sweetheart of a guy.
Oh, fucking one of the best dudes. I love him to death. I love him like a little brother. I really do. He's got, you get jealous of Mike. You really do. Like, just from like even though like I don't act as much anymore. My concentration is really on stand up, and there's like a different mindset to that than there is with theater that I actually prefer. Because the way my brain works. But like Mike just would go up there and you'd just get mad because you're like, God damn it. How does he do?
He's an absolute tremendous talent.
He made it. He's literally one of those guys that makes it look fucking easy.
When we did ACT, there's for the people who don't know, there was a thing called ACTF, which is essentially, it was just
you have to really explain ACTF.
It was a performance festival with a bunch of colleges in the area, tri-state area.
It was a competition.
So it was more of a competition.
Oh yeah, I got some ACTF stories.
Oh, as do I, my friend, as do I. But they went and did The Foreigner, and they had put it on stage. And you would think
my best friend was in that. My best friend was in that too, Jim.
Jimmy, yeah. But I went there to compete. But I also was there to support the show. And when they put the show on, my God, I had gone to ACTF several times before that. And
you got to get O'Connor on here to really tell that. Like, you should get Mike and O'Connor on here to tell that.
We can have them all on.
Just tell that. You could literally just talk about that weekend.
As a viewer, I mean, those guys were on stage. I'm sure they could feel it, but I actually got to see it. And these guys, you would think the Rolling Stones were on stage.
James has said, he's like,
They
I
were
reached rock star status.
Rock stars. They were like literally rock stars for the rest of the weekend. And
ladies and gentlemen out there, I really have to explain when you're at a theater festival.
Steven won an award, I think, because of that show.
Yeah, he's probably the biggest dick in the room. And I don't mean that like asshole. I mean like no one, he's just Stephen Lance Greffel comes in the room and you're like, yeah, this guy's got like a 13-inch fucking hanger and he's, you know what I mean?
Yep. Shout out to Steve if he's listening and his 13-inch hanger.
Oh, great. I hope he's laughing at that. We love you, Steve. We love you, bud.
Absolutely.
No, but he's got that confidence about, it was weird because he was always really friendly with us. So remember he would like tell us, tell us all about the judging things, about stuff he didn't agree with. Right. You know what I mean? He was like, he was brilliant with everything. He was always very well spoken about it. He wasn't like a shit. You know what it was is with Steven, I watched his children grow up. That's how long I've known him. You too. Yeah. And, the amount of respect I have for that man, he was 100% a second father to me. Oh, I have a great question. I've had a ton of people yell at me before, teachers, professors, what have you, bosses. No one affected me with their disapproval of me like Steven did. When he was upset with me, I took that shit to heart, and I was like, I got to go ahead and do something. I got to look myself in the mirror and grab myself up on my bootstraps and just do something about it. And he was one of those guys that really wanted to bring out the best in anybody, his no matter what. Mattered to you because you knew that he was right in the long run. But and again, if you had his respect and he did like you, he would do anything for you. Man, he was a good. Still, I think I remember one time, one person. There was like a professor at a different school at ACTF that yelled at O'Connor. I think at Jimmy. And I don't know if you weren't there for it, but I think they. I definitely was. She made. It was in Hyannis in Massachusetts. The same year Foreigner went there. And she like yelled at Jimmy or something like that, and then Steven came over and just ripped into her for talking shit about the student. You want to see Steven mad? Fuck with his actors. He's very protective of his actors, man. Mm-hmm. Like he's, and I mean that in a good way. Like because we work hard for Steve, and he's always like he was. Like I hate to sound like I'm making him sound like the cheesy, cool college professor that you see in every movie, but he was a good dude, man. Like just the way that it was, So be it. That man is one of the coolest people I've ever met in my entire life. Yeah, he really is. He's come on, we'll call it as it is. Yeah, so he's totally Dead Poet Society. My captain. Yeah, we were totally we're just like it that's the weird thing because like. I always felt like because there were some people that I think just kind of like we kind of like knew Steven on like a like after a while it was like a friend level. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah, absolutely. Like and not like never in school. Like it was always afterwards and everything. Right. He was always very good about. Dude kept in contact with people like us. Like he cared about to this day what we did in our lives. Happy birthday. I mean, even though I live 800 miles away, my man still leaves me a happy birthday message. He texted you on your wedding day, man. Of course. Yeah. We sent him that video. But I have a great question. This is a good topic. What's your favorite? Because I know you have one. What's your favorite Steven making another person cry in front of you story? There's just so many of them. Dude, I have a great one. Okay, you go ahead. And it's prefaced with the fact that when I first went there and took his class, I actually didn't make his first class. I was late. Mm-hmm. And I'm like a 18-year-old kid, and I didn't know Steve. But if you just see Steve, especially at that time, he's kind of an intimidating guy. Like he's just outside. Well, I mean, he does the same spiel every time the first time you met him. You meet him. He's got his... He's got his fucking. He wants to let people know like where he comes from. Like he's not just some guy who just came in who's been like assigned to do this class. He wants to tell you that he's passionate about it. This is what you can expect from me. This is what I expect from you. Any questions? And when he does his spiel every time people come and take his class,
either people decide right then and there, because he's trying to cut the fat even in the first 15 minutes.
He always admitted that that's what he does.
Right.
Like and I kind of like, a lot of people could see that. Is like, I remember, like, he's a very particular teacher. Like, he's a tough teacher, and I don't mean that. Like, he's not a bully by any standpoint. I always
appreciated that, because in high school you didn't get that from teachers, because they knew you had to be there and stuff like that. And then finally, my introduction to college, I'm meeting this person who actually treats you like an adult, and it's like, this is what I want from you. This is what I'm going to get from you. And if you don't deliver, just get the fuck out.
Yeah, absolutely. And
let me tell you, I mean, I'm not putting on a facade about myself. There was plenty of times that I fucked up. Plenty of times where he was disappointed in me. There's plenty of times where I would get in my own head, and he would have to be like, "What are you doing? What the fuck are you doing?" And then you would go out to the courtyard, and you would try to figure it out and try to clear your head. And if you couldn't get it at the next break, all of a sudden you would just see this red glowing ember at the end of his cigarette from a distance. And then he would come and talk to you in private, and you guys would discuss it and try to come up with a conclusion. And I always did. He always helped me in the long
it's
run.
Also like, it was a challenge, man. Like, it was also like
every day was a challenge, man. You could not phone in anything with that man.
Yeah, but it was never, it was never like, and I always respected his view of acting, because I've always admitted I'm not the one that's going to sit and meditate for 8 hours, because I always kind of viewed it. This is not me putting myself on a pedestal. This is just my brain. I just kind of viewed it as like, all right, this is a craft. It's like learning how to fix an engine. You know what I mean? It really is.
Well, I mean, I agree with you, and and to piggyback off of that, I came from a culinary background before, and then I went to culinary school before I went to Suffolk for.
You had you did the right thing and actually went to like a BOCES program in high school, and I did not.
Yeah, and I would have had the chance to go. I actually wanted to transfer to the acting program, but they talked me into staying. But
they offered me the acting program in high school, and I was such a shithead, metalhead fuck. I was like, nah, I'd rather drink beer and bomb around with my friends.
Yeah, exactly. But
I should have just fucking sucked it up and like went over there and probably got laid. It would have been nice.
But my point with that is, like, they would have you do all the breathing exercises, and any guest person that would come in and show you a tongue twister or show you a method.
That's different.
Well, that's different, right? But they would drill all that information into you. But I feel like after a while, you should be able to know what works for you, what doesn't work for you. And what I was getting with my culinary thing is, okay, maybe I don't want to use the sous vide machine. Maybe I just want to use a grill. Maybe I don't want to bake this. You know the tools that are available to you, but it gets to a point while you're there, I don't want to use this. I've done it before. You guys have forced this onto me. This works for me better.
Jesus, what is this? You're inside the actor studio, fucking.
Well, I mean,
no.
That's what we're talking about.
Saying, that's what I'm saying. Like, because let me put it this way: when I started doing stand up, which I can't emphasize how much I fucking love doing it.
But you 100% have gained insight into stand up as far as preparing yourself because of the training that you acquired.
Theater gave me a leg up. Absolutely. Because that gives you. Like, the things that do translate, there's a lot of, like, the misconception is like, oh, it just all translates. Like, no, because I don't need to go fucking sit down and think about my dead father so I can tell a joke about jerking off later. You know what I mean? Right. That's innately me. Like, that's about just kind of going up there and being yourself, which is very different from playing somebody else.
Your training has helped you to this point. Where you're
but it's knowing the difference between what is actually going to help you and not being a jackass at the club in front of the other comedians. Because I'll tell you right now, man, the minute I see some dude like doing I've seen it, man, doing tongue twisters in the hallway. I just want to be like, dude, shut up and go out and do it. This isn't Shakespeare. Like, this is different. Mm-hmm. Like, what do you do? Like, I try not to make fun of people because I'm trying to, but at the same time, there's an innate shit giving in comedy that I'm like, what are you doing? Mm-hmm. Look at what you're doing. Like, really, like, this is not, gonna help you out there. You know what I mean?
Right.
You know, if they were, but what Steven gave me was confidence and actually stage presence, which is a big deal in comedy. Like if you have got to be able to look like you're saying something without saying anything up there, because the audience has got to have a reason to look at you.
Right.
So that's, you know, I'm very physical up there, and I learned all that from Steve, man. I said that to him when he asked me about it. I said, I learned all that shit from you, dude.
Yeah.
You know, like the joke writing is me. Like that's so me. But like the physicality, the presence, and everything that I come up with in creating when I tell a story and I'm being very physical and creating it, that is Stephen Lance Guffro training.
Right.
All of that is. But that's all that really translates. That's not me being pretentious about anything, because any comedian learns how to do that. Like even if you're just standing there, you know, it's something that it still matters. Like, you know, there's like, look at Chappelle, you know, like when Chappelle goes up there and does stuff, there's those little movements he does and everything. He's not just, you know,
Chappelle has the audience in his hands. Forget reputation. Forget Chappelle show. Forget all that stuff.
That's presence, man.
Before he even says line one, he's got them in the palm of his hands. That's presence, man. That's presence and confidence and that stuff. I can honestly say, I've had that. The last time I've ever actually performed anywhere was that was the Romeo and Juliet that we did with the Shakespeare Festival? Yeah, Shakespeare Festival. But before that... For those of you who don't know, Long Island used to do a very fucking awesome festival that was actually funded through Suffolk County Community College, and they used it as a program for the younger students. So Stephen Lance Guffro would actually direct it. We would audition. He would bring in some actors, but the students would audition as well, and they would treat it very seriously as like a show, so they'd had some kind of real-world experience going in there. I can't believe they're not doing it anymore. They just ran out of money. It was, you know, when you fund stuff through a college like that, like it's been up, and Steven always fights. I wish they would do it again. I always said I would do that again. Man. It really is. It's so important. Well, this fucking guy, I love him to death, but he was like, you know how he talks to people, and this is not anything, but he was just like, think about doing Much Ado. And Steven, you know, he wasn't like, he didn't say that I had a part or anything like that by any means, but you know, I was like, I'm gonna fucking be Benedict, man. I'm gonna work hard at this and be Benedict, and that was 2 years ago. So, right. You know, but that was the last I heard of it. I wish they would do it again. It's fun, and a lot of people that you and I mutually know do it, and you know, they're kind of a bit of a staple of it. They're very good at it. Yeah, they're regulars. Yeah, you know, I wish they would do it. Even if it doesn't matter if we're in it or not, it should be something that should be continued. I wholeheartely agree. I mean, it's the best. I've always enjoyed myself going there, regardless of the people that I knew that were in it. I was lucky enough to do it one time before I moved away, and it was my last show. It was very cathartic for me, and whenever I went there, you just have a great time. You bring a bottle of wine, you go ahead and just sit out there and enjoy yourself on a nice summer day. Sometimes I'd make a massive bottle of sangria. See, you're being very nice about this, but I remember going to see some of those shows and being like, yo, I'm coming to pick you up. You making sangria? He's like, yeah, I'm getting a jug. And then you and I, it's like, look at this. Like the whole time, I'm being serious, the whole time you've been sitting here being like, yeah, this, all that, and the other thing. And I'm like, what are you talking about, dude? Like we used to go and get bombed there and be like, look at this horse shit. I remember the one, no, it was Macbeth. But we were drunk during Macbeth? Yeah, I had to, you said, I'm feeling sangria. And I'm like, all right, I got you. And I had to work. No, I was in Mac. Oh, then it wasn't Mac then. It wasn't Mac. It was, I know exactly what you're talking about. It was As You Like It. Yeah, you're right. As You Like It. So it was I remember I was in Cali. I was working in Cali and I came back. Yeah. And I remember I was working for a car business, car dealership. Yeah, you were in the dealership. I had to work that day and then drive 45 minutes back and just make it on time. And I'm thinking to myself, how am I going to make this homemade sangria? How am I going to do it? Didn't you make it in the fucking parking lot like a derelict? That's what I was doing. So I brought a buck knife with me, and I went to a Stop and Shop at fucking 7:30 in the morning, and I had all my fixins that I just took a buck knife and just sliced up fruit in the parking lot. I'm just imagining you like just there and everybody just seeing you and just cutting fruit. And then Mike, you know Mikey. Oh, the guy you were, Mike. Yeah, you knew your dad's bud. Mikey, yeah, Mikey had a mini fridge in his office, and I just put the giant jug in his fridge, and I'm like, look, don't use your fridge. I got to keep something cold. It's very important. And then I remember just like trying to haul ass to get back there on time. And everyone I had a lot of people judging me, and I'm like, I don't give a fuck.
Yeah, dude, because you look like a homeless person cutting up his lunch in the fucking Stop and Shop parking lot.
Oh no, I'm talking about when I brought the massive jug of sangria with me.
Dude, that's all we used to do. Yep. Like that's what I mean. Like,
it goes back to when we were drinking moonshine in the parking lot before we went to see that god awful Suffolk show, which I can't.
I don't remember.
35 minutes later, and I still can't remember the name of that show.
Yo, like, I remember, like, the shit we
Wait a minute, was it...
What?
I don't want to say.
You don't want to say? Write it in the chat to me. No, write it in the chat to me. You see the chat? Write it in the chat to me. Just yeah.
I don't know. I'm not sure if you were in this show or not.
Let's see. Oh, I wasn't that. Fuck.
You were in that? Okay, no.
Oh, it was so bad.
It wasn't that one.
Listen, I'm not going to name this show because there's people that were in that show and that I'm friends with.
I like this sneakingly thing that we're able to do.
No, dude, I listen
I don't
to
hurt anyone's feelings, but come on. Listen, I've had my share of dog shit shows before. I'm not afraid to admit it, but I don't want to insult the people that were in the show with me.
Oh no, I think we've been very good about that. Yeah. Listen, I listen to SiriusXM's The Bonfire all the time with Big J and Dan Soder, and all they do, like when stuff comes up that they're like, "Ooh, I can't say this," and they're like, "Just chat it to me, dude," and like, and then they're like the whole time they're like, "Oh, this person," they're like, "Yeah."
I know it wasn't this show because you were in that as well. I think
this is great. Nobody knows. I was in this show.
You were in that.
I mean that. Yeah. You know what the thing? Actually, I'll name this show because that wasn't half. It was like it had its moments.
Are you talking about the show that I just put in?
This one was definitely better than Mattress, and I mean that. I
can agree with you on that. I did like the Terminator Salvation theme that it had.
Oh, we called it Metal Gear. All right, so I'm just going to say the name.
Fuck it, might as well at this point.
Because there was like Rob was good in that show. I liked Rob.
There were some redeeming qualities, yes.
Yeah. So, but I'm not gonna say this was a shit show. There was some problematic cast members in the show that I will not name. Right. But this was.
Oh no!
Caesar.
Why not, Joe?
Oh man, I don't want to open that bag of snakes. Are you kidding me, dude?
Yeah, I'm like 100%.
Just to preface it, this is a person that was in the show, for anybody listening, that was just had some bad relationships with people that we knew. There was affairs going around.
Let me tell you, they always say, "Don't dip your pen in the company ink."
Dude, you know what else is funny about that school?
That school was a fucking Jackson Pollock painting, man. There was ink everywhere.
Yeah, of cum and fucking a lady squirt juice. I'm on that wall.
You're all over that wall, my man.
Dude, I was all over that green room with my girlfriend at that time. Like we banged.
I think they had to set that couch on fire in the green room after a while.
Oh, dude, I would make jokes. I remember, like, when I went back to finish my degree and there was, like, the younger generation there and I was just kind of, like, the older, like, I would always make jokes, like, because they were tame.
You don't know. You don't know.
No, I was happy that they weren't like us.
Rolling around in your daddy's nutsack while we were doing this shit. Get out of here. What are you talking about?
But, like, I used to make jokes about the green room being like, "Oh, you guys hang out in there?" Ugh. That place. Exactly. I mean, I could tell you the countless times I walked in on people fucking.
Yeah.
Yes. I feel like that was like a rite of passage.
Not just the green room, mind you.
Oh, I saw someone get a blowjob one time. I told you about that.
Hey, everybody. We'll be right back with Joe's blowjob story after this short break. Allegedly. This story allegedly happened. Allegedly.
There was we had a big theater, small theater. There was the small theater was called, what was that, 119, right?
Small theater was room 119.
All right, and then there was like the room next door was almost like a rehearsal space, but it was a classroom. But it was like we called it. That was 117, right? Or like
117.
That was 117. Now 117 and one.
Not many shows were.
Well, no.
It was more of a rehearsal space.
Yeah, they did one. They did Tempest in there. I know they did that. Right? Not Tempest. They did
What?
no. They did the one Shakespeare show in there that you hate. that you were a made up character in.
That wasn't in 117. That was in 119.
Oh, that's right. I thought you had to do that.
Yeah. No,
right.
That's where we all got changed. That was
okay. Yeah. Anyway, so that's why. Yeah. So anyway, that's perfect way because those two classroom, the 119 is connected to 117, which is an actual classroom. 119 is a stage that Stephen uses for his acting classes. But they're connected. If you go behind, it's like they use that as a dressing room. There's like it's like a tunnel. There's an alleyway back there. Yeah. So. There was a class called Stage Combat that taught fencing. I was assistant for it, and I had a key to a weapons locker, and the weapons locker just held all of the foils, the fencing equipment. I needed to go grab a fencing foil. If I say sword, Steven will text me and tell me to do push-ups right now.
Oh my God! Hold on, pause real quick. I know the story, but I have another story.
Well, let me finish my story.
I know, but I didn't even think about this until now. That's why it's such a revelation to me. But go ahead.
Yeah, and I remember. So I went back. I had the key to it, and I was working with a couple students from the class because I was the assistant for it. And I went to the weapons locker, and if there's no lights on back there, you're kind of just walking in the darkness. You can't really see anything, but there's like a light all the way at the end. So I walked in there, and like you can't see me, but I just saw like. At the end of it, I never said anything like about it because it was just like when you see a friend and somebody else and someone's dick's in someone's mouth. Like you ever just seen a blowjob like up close, right live in front of you, and I had never seen that before in my life. Like I had seen my dick get sucked, which is fine, but like when you see I imagine that's what it's like at one of those like swinger parties where you're just kind of walking around with a martini being like, oh, hello, nice. But like I just froze and I stood there and I'm like, I know that guy. I know that girl. That guy is a girlfriend. That guy, you know what I mean? But it was like I just saw a blowjob and I walked back. I just like I didn't even get the shit. I ran back. I was just like, I get out of here. I'm like, ugh. Like I don't know what the fuck I just saw. And I just came back. I was like, start white. And they were like, did you get the stuff? And I'm like, why don't we take like a 15-minute break? Like, let's take like 15. We've been working.
Shut up and come already. Let's go.
That was my mindset. Here. I'm like, I got to let this, we got to let booth 3 finish off. Then I got to mop the jizz up. Dude, I felt like a porno janitor. I felt like a porno theater janitor. Like, any booths ready? He's like, no, the booth 3 is occupied. I got to wait about 15 minutes.
Oh my God.
But I'll never forget that. But like, there's a million stories of that. God. I mean,
Well, hold on. So what I was going to say is I saw something, the same exact thing, but it wasn't on the ground floor. There was like a little lighting area. Like it was like this is going to sound so strange, but remember GoldenEye? The Nintendo 64
Why does that sound strange? I love that fucking game.
Do you remember
it looked like the complex?
Do you remember the facility you start in the air duct? It was like that. So in that same area,
dude, we sound like such fucking children. It's like, do you remember GoldenEye? Yeah, school's totally like GoldenEye. We're supposed to be fucking adults.
There was this area. This was like this hatch thing in like the I don't know what the fuck you call it.
That's right.
Yeah, where they would do the lighting. They would climb up there and then they would hang up the lighting for 119. Someone was 100% up there getting.
Oh, you told me this story before. I remember. I know exactly who this is.
Allegedly. Yeah, and I don't know what I think I was getting something. You know what? Holy shit. I took advanced combat, and I think I was doing the exact same thing you were doing. I think I was getting some blades.
Probably.
And I saw it, but the person actually called me out and almost scared the shit out of me. So I went to grab it, and he's like, hey, Ibsen. And I was like, Jesus Christ. And right up there, and there was a female companion up there as well. And I was like, I got to get the fuck out of here. That's all I thought about. So, but anyway, forget all about that. Blowjobs are funny. So
blowjobs are hilarious.
Blowjobs are fantastic, hilarious, depending on the situation you're in. So there was another show. We talked about getting hammered. We're trying to figure this out. I just actually located all the shows.
Would you go on the Suffolk website?
There's all the shows that are documented, which I've never seen this website before for like, I don't know, maybe 20 years. It's all here. So I'm in that general area, but I also thought of one show in 2008 where you and I, as well as a couple of the performers of the show.
Oh, is this when we got hammered at Maison Olay?
Yep.
And then went and saw that show, and then we all got on the shit list.
And then the people who were acting in this show were
Department hated us after that.
Sweating tequila.
No, one of the guys was in the show.
No, two of the guys were in the show.
That's right.
We got like
4 pitchers of margaritas, and like
we had more than that. I think we did shots too.
Yeah, no, we definitely did, because I definitely remember doing Jameson with you, and like you and I were like in the clear because we were like, let's go and hammer it and go see the show.
Jameson in a Mexican restaurant.
We were the worst fucking student.
100%. But I'm trying to remember the one time before then. So you and I met during Rocky Horror. So I'm looking at everything past that.
Oh, those shows. There's a hell of a, because after
hold on. I'm typing something for you in the chat.
Okay. Oh, Jason Ipson is typing. Oh, I'll call this show
Hold
out.
on. Were you in that or no?
Yeah, I was in that.
You were in that. Fuck.
Yeah. That was a rough. That was you know what? Like it's beautiful when people just stop fucking caring, like not even halfway through a rehearsal process. And I like, this makes this sound so shitty, but like it was just you had to be there to kind of realize that we were kind of on a sinking ship during this show.
Sure.
Because and I'm not even going to call like anybody out really, because I just think it was a series of things that, like, it just, the script was okay at best. There was a lack of communication.
Are you calling it out, or are you just talking about it?
I can't even call it out, because it's just like, it is what it is. Like, the show happened. Like, I'm not mad about it, because like there's a lot of funny things that happened. I gotta say something. I don't mean to cut you off, but I'm going to right now. I thought I had, a lot of Bag of Dicks shows. This is a Bag of Dicks show. I'll definitely say that.
You're kind of neck and neck with me as far as having to be in some Bag of Dick shows.
No, I definitely. I feel like that's one of the reasons why you and I had a kinship, because we had to suck it up a couple times.
A couple. I feel like 85% of my career there was just Bag of Dicks. There's only a handful of times where I was like, I really like what I'm doing.
Well, I remember getting pissed anytime the director came to me and said, well, I'm just going to make up a part. And I'm like, well, fuck you. Like, just give me the part.
Well, one of them was from a guy who, sweetheart of a guy. But my man was on some psychedelic shit where, how do you go ahead and just make up a character in Shakespeare? You don't do it. It doesn't happen.
Are you talking about my man? Fucking
yeah.
Oh, the fucking stoner genius. Yeah, of course.
Yep. Yeah, artistic.
I love that. I'm not. I wish I could say his name. I don't want to, but like, I love that guy. I love that. I just want to say, I love that guy.
I agree. I love
cool conversations with that dude.
Unfortunately, I was in the crosshairs when that shit happened, and every time I was on stage, quiet, Joe. Fucking ridiculous.
You should get a poster of you like that. Just hang that in your house.
Well, you already let it out of the fucking bag already. But my dad.
No, I didn't. Nobody's gonna.
Listen, I sent my son to college so he could be a fucking wave. That was Pops. That was
man.
Yep.
I mean, but like with Forgery, like it was a original script. Like I remember, like that was the whole thing about it. It was original script. I remember the auditions were just messy. I know the play had like 2 two directors, and it was just like I didn't know. I personally didn't know what was going on. Like and like things were like said to me that like you're kind of a shoo-in for this, and then I tried to really get a part in the show, and then like it went to a guy who was just like is a good dude, but I was just like, well, why did you talk me up if you're just going to give it to him anyway? You know what I mean? Like that's what that's why I was. And then the silver lining and why I actually really like that show is, and I will say this guy's name till the day I die because he was one of the greatest human beings I ever met on the planet. I got to act with John Shivers, and John Shivers, for those of you who don't know, was a guy who was an older gentleman at Suffolk who was the prop guy. Essentially, he was MacGyver. This guy could do anything, and he was. I mean, just real quick, I don't want to get all sappy and anything, but he was like one of the best dudes. He unfortunately passed away when we were. But anybody who got a chance to know John was just like Shivers was just the best dude in the world.
John was just happy. Funny. John was, and he made me feel like a piece of shit sometimes because there was plenty of times where I was like, why am I doing this part? This part is nothing. I go on stage, I hold this item, and I go back. Like, am I? Everyone's like, it's not the size of the part, it's the size of the actor or some bullshit like that.
Which is hard that's a hard hump to get over sometimes.
It's a hard hump to get over.
When you're sitting there like, yeah, I'm a big important part, I'm a fucking bush.
But John could have been like, holy shit, I get to be a shrub.
Yeah, he was that guy.
And I'm going to be the best fucking shrub there ever was. And he had this childlike innocence about him that was so appreciative just to be a part of the show. And I always admired that about him because I could never be that way.
I remember like
I went to it. You were there. I think you were there too. I went to his funeral, and
I was there, man.
We went drinking afterwards and gave a toast to him. He was an amazing guy,
amazing human being, dude. And I remember he was also like the easiest dude to work with because. I mean, the beautiful thing about Forgery is like because everybody kind of stopped giving a fuck, except for like a couple of people that took themselves way too seriously. I don't care.
You mean there were people like that at the school we went to?
There was like two people.
What? You mean to tell me that there were some people who took themselves way too fucking seriously?
Yo, like, I'm not trying to be, like, anybody, like, listen, and I'm not talking about anybody who's gone on to, like, be any kind of success. I really am not talking about them. I'm talking about the people that, like, took themselves, like, stupidly seriously and was just, like, if you ever use the words, I want to transform, I want to kick you in the cunt so bad. Like, it's just... It's so pretentious, and it's to me like that's just not what acting's about, man. Like it's just not like transform. You want to transform? Fine, go watch a Michael Bay movie, all right, and then figure out how to turn into a fucking car and then get back to me. Like that's ridiculous. We just did it. We were taught to kind of go out there and be in the moment and just kind of like fucking go with anything that happens, man. Steven took us through like emotional exercises and everything, but then he would be the first person to sit there and be like, yeah, now you draw from that when you need to. You already did that. You don't need to do it again.
Steven did a lot of shit that was heavy. My man was not afraid to break boundaries.
Oh my God.
He did some heavy shit that got some flack on the department, but he's stuck by it.
He was like a controversial figure at one point.
Boy's a winner. Boy's a winner, dude. That show, even though I didn't act in it, I saw that show like every night. Every night I could watch it. I
saw that fucking show. I saw that show. That was a dope show.
Go ahead and do that and get the flack, on the department and whatnot from the dean of whatever. He above and beyond. And he put the guys through hell. He put those guys through hell.
Yo, I still remember to this day seeing the training. He used to fucking, because like Justin, Rob. For the record, Rob. I'll say Rob Schilling because I love Rob Schilling very much.
I miss that guy so much.
Miss him so much. If he ever hears this, I love you, Rob. You're a good man.
Please come out.
Rob was a real Marine. Rob was an active Marine at that time, right?
I think he was just out.
He was only doing formations or whatever. He's got to go. I can't remember the term for it, but he was on the end. He was in Fallujah, wasn't he?
Yeah, but I mean, I don't think we need to talk about that.
No. I'm just saying, like he was like a real Marine and everything. He wasn't, not downing anybody who's, but he was like, and Rob was very, he was. I remember because I remember Rob telling me about this, where he would go to Steven and be like, "This is getting pretty real. Do you want me to keep going?" Like,
and Steven loved it. The fact that he had someone who had real life experience. Steven was never a stranger. When
Steven was also isn't Steven? Wasn't
if they're not bleeding, we're not doing it right.
Wasn't Steven Army Special Forces too?
Steven was a lot of things.
Steven, I know for a fact he was in the Army.
Steven was, yeah. Oh, yeah. But Steven was a lot of things. And
Steven worked for the CIA.
For that. But he put those guys through hell. I mean,
that was a good show.
And I'm sure he wouldn't mind me saying this just to go ahead and just put this out there. But he's going to be a guest on my show in the future. Is Cole. When Cole was living in a trailer at some point. Long story with that. But
I'm going to not make any Cole jokes.
No Cole jokes. But he was living
except this one.
He was living in a trailer at the time. His parents moved away. Long story short, his parents moved away. He wanted to continue his training at Suffolk. His former boss had a trailer in his driveway that let Cole live there. But the trailer had no running water and no heat, and it was wintertime. Cole was put through some psychological shit by doing that show. And let me tell you, one of the hardest working actors I've ever met to this day, is Cole Hockenberger. And he was completely, you talk about transforming like it's a joke. In some cases it is. But these guys, they did everything but drop them off in Vietnam.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, I know for a fact they did.
They put them through some psychological shit, and I remember Cole would just be eating a can of beans when I'd go visit him. There was plenty of times where I would just go offer to stay the night at his trailer just to go ahead and give him some laughs, and we just watch a movie or some shit like that just to kind of break up the day for him. Even though it had no running water and no heat, just to give him some enjoyment from the shit that he was doing. My man, like, you could see how his eyes were like hollow, like he'd go to school and go do this like rehearsal process that was just grueling. Like, they put them through some serious shit, and I'm sure if the school knew half of the shit that they were putting them through, 100% we would have gotten shut down.
Let's name all of it right now and then post this on Suffolk's website. Let's stir some controversy, dude.
Yeah, Jason Ibsen, here's a subpoena for you.
Yo, get this podcast on the map, son.
Oh, Jesus. I really
Jason
don't want to name
calling
names.
out all fronts.
Yeah, I don't want to name names. You know?
I mean, like, here's the thing.
Listen, I had such... As much as I don't regret my time at Suffolk because it made me the man.
No, I mean, listen.
And, I don't want to talk about the job that I have currently, but because of my training at Suffolk, I 100% a couple times in my career, it has kept me alive because of it. So I have 100%.
Jesus, all right.
I mean, again, I don't want to get I don't want to get into it at all, but it is the training that I've gotten from Steven as well as other professors at the school has helped me thus far. As much as I think that it would have behooved me to take a different career path during that time, I don't regret any of the time that I spent at that school because it was a learning experience and I wouldn't have had the friendships that I've had unless I went there. So
that's true. I definitely made some of the best friends in my life at that school.
Absolutely.
I'm more so than because I fucking high school. I didn't really give a shit about.
Yeah. I mean, look, my wedding was all you guys.
There was like four of us, but yeah,
well, no, mostly it was you guys.
Well, it was us. It was me, Jay, James, Cole, Dane.
Zapetti was supposed to come.
Zapetti was invited, couldn't come.
Lisa,
but yeah, no, I mean, well, you know what it is? I met because me personally, I grew up in a small town.
Yeah.
So like when I got to go, and that's why I love and appreciate my time there so much because theater made me come out of my shell a little bit.
Right.
And
look, you've had to have enjoyed it for you having
dude,
I
remember
you lived an hour away from the school.
Well, I remember sleeping in my car after rehearsal. Like, remember I had that big fucking expedition, right?
I do remember the expedition. Yes.
Ah, yes, the pussy wagon, of course.
No pun intended.
No, it wasn't far from it. But
I don't know about that, there, pal.
Oh man, I can't.
Let's just say that I had designated shotgun in that car because I refused to sit in the back seat. I'm just putting it out there.
I cleaned.
Yeah, okay.
Anyway, fuck you. But I remember like sleeping.
At least we're not live.
I remember like because you get out of rehearsal at like 11.
Yeah,
and then like
on a good night.
Yeah, and then like I got class at 8. I live an hour away. I'm just gonna sleep in the car. I'd have a sleeping bag back there, and I would just.
Sometimes you crashed at my place.
It was sometimes, but there was if you weren't in the show or everything, we got out late. I'm like, I'll just sleep in the car, and I would just wake up and like, and I have whatever. Steven eventually was realizing that I did that, and like gave me a key to the locker, like because how Steven treated that place as his own bird. Like he's like, I'm gonna go upstairs and take a shower. Like,
I remember doing Tempest with him, and that was a very meaningful show for him because
it was.
It was his wife Val.
That was Val's first show she directed for Suffolk.
I have a tremendous amount of respect for Val.
Love Val. She's like, I was always more scared of Val than I was of Steve.
I agree wholeheartedly with you on that. But she was very sweet with me when
she was.
I had a small partner show, but she was very, very sweet.
I did too. Yeah, I was on that show with you.
Yeah. See, there's so many shows that I've done there that I sometimes I just forget. Yeah,
remember Fuckhead? Remember Fuckhead?
What's so funny is you just
I love how I went,
and I just know who you're talking about. Yeah,
I was gonna say, dude, I hated that kid. I fucking hated him so much.
And in Taff would be. I
love Taff.
You're my. He's like, you're my second in command because I'm the captain. You're the bosun. We got to do something about this guy. And I'm like, we can't do anything. Just let the director handle it, And then we would just cut him out of everything, like he wasn't.
Oh my god! Do you remember when we beat the shit out of Kevin one night?
That poor kid.
Oh god! And I mean this lovingly, and I mean this like it was, but like. We had this opening thing that was all in slow motion, and we were on like a boat and everything. So it was actually really cool. Like visually, the show was like I liked the show, but like one of the places that it really succeeded in was Val had this great kind of idea of doing something sort of minimalistic. It was cool, and and there was like a sheet. And we had all these things we could pull on to kind of mimic a boat and everything. And there was great music and cool lighting. And Kevin was the youngest member of like the not speaking characters were the crew of the ship. Like she had this weird, I don't want to get into it because like a whole thing I have to explain, but like we were the shipmates and we were non-speaking parts, but we had to act like we were on a boat. So we threw out Kevin and fucking Taft just slapped his ass one night.
Throwing him everywhere.
And then he threw over to Jonathan and Jonathan like slammed him to the ground.
Well, my favorite thing.
And then he just started slapping everybody.
My favorite thing about this show, and I'm going to go start it off, but I want you to join me with this, okay? My favorite thing about this show was before we go on stage, we did two things. We'd be in the dressing room after we got
that's right.
We get costumes on, we get our makeup on, and then we would just start it off, and we would just I hope people who are listening with the headphones and whatnot don't get too much reverberation and whatnot, but it was just like pounding on the desk like this.
Yeah, we did Show Me the Way to Go Home from Jaws.
Show me the way to go home.
Do you remember when... I'm not singing this whole song with you right now.
Well, hold on. So I just want to go and say this. What are you doing?
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. What are you doing?
I was scratching something off my laptop. There's like resin on it from the amount of weed I smoke. It was a great show. I had a lot of fun on it too. I remember it was just like, like I remember a couple, like that was another show too. There was a couple of people that took themselves very seriously.
Yeah.
And that was like the thing. That's the thing that you run into in theater. It's just like, I do like, and for a long time I was kind of like, dude, calm down, not calm down. Like I would respect it. And because it was a lot because of Steve, but here's the thing. Steve was never a prick about anything or his process that he did. Steve did his own thing. He never involved, like, those motherfuckers that would just like meditate in front of everybody just to show the fact that it's like, I learned this by reading a Meisner book last night. And all I want, you know what I mean? Like, I know what you're doing and you're being an asshole.
Yeah.
And like, that was the whole thing. Cause I would go like, I would just kind of like, the only thing I would do is listen to music beforehand. I was never, I would just to get myself in the mindset. You know what I mean?
Oh man, I'm not going to name names here, but there was a guy who would impose his way of doing things for his pre-show meditation, if you will. But he would force it upon you. And me, I was the same way as you. Me personally, I'll be honest with you. I did a quick little prayer that I would just be.
Oh, you're a God-fearing man.
I mean, to
whatever floats your boat.
I would just go ahead and just do like a mental like quick prayer, and then I would go ahead and put music on, music that would inspire me for whatever show I was in. So I would listen to a lot of sea shanties during Tempest.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, we all did.
You know what I mean? So like that was one of those things, and to this day, I still kind of listen to the sea shanty thing because it holds a special part in my life as far as my memory in better times and whatnot. But when it comes down to it, is this person would go ahead and have his. I don't want to go ahead and name it right. Call him out on it, but he would be like, if you didn't do what he told you to do, he would pout about it, and a lot of people thought he was the best thing since sliced fucking bread, and I would just ignore the shit out of him. And those were the kind of people that I would try to
put that name in the chat. I want to see if I. Oh my God! Absolutely.
I love this chat. This chat,
dude. He wasn't in Tempest, but he was.
No.
That guy is a pretentious ass, and I don't give a fuck. Like,
but unfortunately, there was quite a few of those roaming around.
You know what? But there's a couple people that maybe carry themselves with an air, like, because I can name, like, I'm gonna put a name here.
Finally, you're actually putting something in I can read because I love this chat thing.
Yeah, let me see here, because this guy, has his thing that he does, but he never imposed it on anybody. And he was also like one of the funnest dudes to drink with in the entire world, as far as I'm concerned.
I'll agree with you on that. And
he had his thing. He had his thing that he would do.
He was one of the actually when we talk about the Moliere thing, he was the person that was like, "You don't get it." And I had I have a massive amount of respect for him.
Oh, and I want to say right now, I love this guy like wholeheartedly.
He's a amount of respect for him, and I didn't want to ruffle his feathers to a point. I just wanted to be like, okay, I respect your opinion, but
he's also an intense. He can be kind of intense too. Like there's you know what I mean?
Let me tell you, but one of the best that school has ever had.
Oh, dude, I've always been a huge fan of his shit.
As far as a talent is concerned, he's in the top,
underappreciated. I honestly say it,
but he's 100% in the top 5. I feel like.
Yeah.
But anyway, I'll agree with you on that. A lot of fun.
No, you nailed it to the wall. I never did a show with him, but I've experienced that guy, and he's a prick.
Count yourself lucky on that.
But I'll say this, and because I wanted to segue into this. Yeah. I to this day, I don't think I've ever been to better parties in my life. You know what I mean? Like the only thing that comes
college.
The only thing that comes, with the that time.
Well, you know what? Here's a great segue. I feel like we've been talking about Suffolk for the better part of the entire show of like 45 minutes. So let's start the segue from just talking about the shows and everything like that. Let's talk about some of the parties. What would you say was the best Suffolk party that we've ever had?
Fucking Jimmy Fest.
Jimmy Fest.
Jimmy Fest was I take it back. That's not a Suffolk party. That was just a party.
Well, no, but it was majority. It was people from the Penny.
That was a mixed bag, man. That was it was
the Penny and Suffolk.
Yeah, Jimmy Fest was the ultimate party. But I'll say this: anytime anybody really kind of, I'll say this right now: anytime anybody decided to do a cast party, you knew it was going to be something.
I never had a party at my place that was like anywhere near as far as the amount of people that Jimmy Fest had. I would have.
You couldn't have supported that shit.
Huh?
You couldn't have supported that shit.
No. With Big Carl was coming home every night. Yeah, he would enjoy himself, but the amount of debauchery that took place at Jimmy Fest, Big Carl couldn't approve of, I'm sure. But I had a couple of shindigs at my place. The tiki party in the winter.
Yeah, which made no sense, but we did it anyway.
We had an outdoor party.
I'll never forget sitting there outside. It's like, we're going to sit outside, and I'm freezing my ass off. This is bullshit.
But we did it, and I remember a couple parts of that whole thing. I think it was me, you, Justin, Cole, Taff.
Yeah, Taff was definitely there.
Rob DeSario?
Oh, Sexy Rob.
Sexy Rob. And...
Dude's a good-looking guy, man. What can I say?
I think that was before Dane.
That was pre-Dane. Dane came. Dane came around during Caesar.
Yeah, but the tiki party, that was the night where we had the fire in my backyard, and Taft's foot got caught on fire.
Yeah, Taft's foot was on fire. I remember that.
And then me and Justin went shot for shot.
Oh, the tequila night.
Tequila night, and he blew.
Yeah, because you were. I remember this. It's like it's got a bear on it, and I was like,
it had a wild boar on the tequila.
You said it's got a bear. You're like, it's got a bear on it, and I was like, it's a pig, you idiot. Like,
yeah. And then we would do like Rock Band at my house. Do you remember?
Oh man, remember we used to do Rock Band at the fucking theater?
One time, Taft brought us to the theater, and we did it. And I remember we came in at midnight. And
we had to go after hours.
And we we stayed there till fucking 6
like 3 in the morning.
No, it was like 6 a.m.
Oh yeah, one time it was like 6 a.m.
I only remember doing it one time, and it was like we stayed there till like 6 a.m. Fucking Rock Band was great. Our band name was La Tigre, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, we had that was the weirdest thing. Like we would all get together and play like Rock Band or like Guitar Hero because that was what was hot at the time. But I remember specifically.
I only bought the set for us. That was it. Yeah, I spent like primo dollars on that. I spent like $5.50 when it first came out to get the complete set.
Yeah, because you had to get all the instruments. You couldn't just get the game and the microphone.
You were like, I'm like, this is going to be fucking epic if all of us get together. And this is just me, but like, it's going to be epic. We're playing a fucking video game, but I was a kid.
Look at us. Like, we suck. Like we're sitting there saying, like, remember before when I was like, oh, great parties? They're like, yeah, remember we used to just get together and like play video games?
Well, no, I mean, hold on. I'll segue.
I'm like, why do I get laid more? I'm just like, oh, that's why.
Well, no, as far as parties are concerned, we had plenty of great parties. I remember having a couple great parties at Zapetti's house. Well, think about it. Summertime was all about the West Hampton Beach bonfires.
Oh God, those
were like the best times of summer that I could go ahead and talk about.
Yeah,
those were the absolute best.
I almost banged a girl in front of my friend.
You need to go tell that story.
Dude, this was like
that's probably in the top 5 as far as best stories that you've ever told me.
The version of the story. I mean, this makes me sound scummy. It's not. There was just we did a show at
totally not scummy.
We were doing at Suffolk. We had done Cyrano de Bergerac, which was a really good show.
Great show.
A friend, I'll give fucking shout out to Rob Doyle. He was the lead and he played Cyrano. Very, very masterfully, one of his best parts. And I was his best friend, and I was like the third lead in it. It was I was really proud of that show. And I also did all the fight choreography for it. That's time college thing. Like it means fuck all now. But
you had your whiplash hair.
Yeah, but I had I had a really fun time doing that show. I always wanted to do years like. I got to do Three Musketeers years later, but I always wanted to be in that show, and that was like the closest.
Man, let me tell you, the Three Musketeers.
I can't get into that. That's a whole thing. But thank you for the record. When we were doing that show, Rob really took to it, and he had like a small production company that was really trying to go off the ground. So that was like one of their first shows back. And they did it at what was that mansion? That's that mansion on Long Island, the Vanderbilt Mansion. Yeah, and we did it there. It was really cool, actually. Like we did it it was like a castle. So we did it on the grounds there, and we had like a guide.
Hold on. Time out. I need to be clear with you on this.
Okay.
Don't name any names when it comes.
Yeah. Let's stop there. Why are you doing this? Stop.
I'm just saying.
Stop.
Okay, just making sure.
What are you doing? Anyway, edit this out.
I'll edit it. I'm just saying.
Anyway, it was, but it was a cool thing in the show, and
Yeah, Joe said another thing he wasn't supposed to.
And she flirted with me all the time. I flirted with her, and it was very apparent. The funny story about this is there was another kid who thought that who was like we would and this was like we were just kind of like into each other and everything, and she was like newly single and so was I, so we were kind of like just kind of fucking around. And like there was this other kid though, we never like did anything except like kiss, make out, and then like we invited her. She was a cool girl, like legit cool girl. We fucking. And everything like that. She was chill, and we just kind of hung out and like made out, and then we invited her to like one of the beach parties. And there was another.
Yeah, I didn't know any of that happened.
There was another kid. Yeah, because I was trying to. I don't like people in my shit, man. But but there was another kid there who is a fucking idiot, and is this kind of I don't know.
Wait, hold on.
Oh, I'm gonna type it right now.
Yeah, type it. I was gonna say you could just go ahead and say it. I'll just.
So he would like he thought that she was into her. This kid I think he ended up hating me after this because he was like he just didn't get it, and he didn't get it, and I was like, no, she likes me, not you. And like she like and this wasn't me like being like a dominant or anything. It was just like she would like fucking dismiss him. It was funny, like, and then like we used to play this game called Ninja. And we were at the beach party, and everybody's like, "Let's play Strip Ninja." And I was like, and we were like, kind of like vibe on each other. So I was like,
"Well, I mean, hold on." So the thing about the beach bonfires is always we would bring a ton of wood for the fire, of course, but there'd always be cases of beer as well as liquor.
Oh, always like 3-4 bottles of Jack.
Always a ton. So when this whole naked ninja thing came into play, all of us were 3 sheets to the wind.
So Ninja was this basically game where you would kind of like move and try to hit somebody's hand, but you can only move one.
It was a freeze tag.
Yeah, you can only move one move at a time type shit. Right. And so we did Strip Ninja. I got completely naked because I thought that would impress people.
So let me just stop there. So I had known you at that point. What do you figure? 8 years, 7 years. At that point,
yeah, basically, yeah. We were good friends. We were very good friends at this point.
Right, exactly. I had never seen you naked at that point, so. Plum to my surprise,
you saw my plums.
I saw your plums, and I was not prepared for that. And the thing is, without the soft glow of the fireplace,
yeah, I was lit very well. By the way,
well, I mean, as pale as you are, you Irish fuck.
As long as you said, thank you very much. You were looking at appreciate it.
This was quite the surprise for me, and at that point when I realized that you were balls naked, I was like, I'm out.
Yeah, to your credit, you're the first person to be like, nah, it's not for me.
I was like, I'm out, and I'm going back to the fire, and I went back to the fireplace where I think Cole and I don't think Kenny was there for this point because I think
Rob Desario might have been there.
Rob Desario was 100% there because that was the day where he dug that giant hole to do the fireplace.
I dug that hole with him. Yeah, I got there with him. I remember that. He was really impressed. He's like, I dug a hell of a hole with Joe before.
Let me tell you, man. I love that guy. My man, when it comes to bonfires, he was an absolute
love that
architect.
Man. I love him to this day. I don't care if I don't see him. I'd love to have
never
had a bad time with Rob Desario, and he's one of my favorite drinking buddies ever. Yep. We would always go out and get into so much fucking fun. It was always fun when we would just kind of go out and be like, we're going to drink tonight. Like when we would just kind of go out and get kind of hammered. And
there was one semester where me and him were just inseparable. I did a show for Kenny.
I love how I was supposed to talk about how I got almost blown in front of somebody, and you were like, let's talk about Rob Desario. No, I'm with you. Let's talk about Rob Desario.
Don't give it away. No, let's go back to that. Let's go back to that. So anyway, I leave. I tapped out, and I'm like, I'm done with Naked Ninja, and I went back to the fire. Okay? Go ahead, proceed.
Yeah, no, I don't know what I was doing. I think I was just trying to Like I think I was just trying to impress her and everything like that because she was cool, man, and she was vibing on me. And
Joe, will you please stop trying to scrape whatever res that you have on your keyboard or whatever?
I'm knocking out my one hitter. I'm sorry.
All right.
Yeah. So whatever. And then like that ended, and I was like in my head, I'm like, I lost, but I won. Like, but yeah, later on, we were just kind of like sitting together, and she started like making out with me and like getting very, very handsy. And
now hold on. At this point, I had left.
You had left. It was just me and.
So were you still both naked or no?
What's that? No.
Were you still?
No, I didn't walk around naked afterwards.
Yeah, I don't know. That's why I wasn't there.
No, just hanging out. We started making out, completely mutual, and she looked over. I'll never forget this. She looked over it. There, and like she was like her like hand was like on like in my pants.
Sorry for the interruption, folks, but Joe went ahead and pulled a bushel of oopsie daisies out and started naming names that shouldn't be named. So to preserve the integrity and decency of those people, I've decided to add some filler music. But I need some help from Joe. That's why he's on the line. Go ahead, Joe.
Rob DeSario.
Pause so I can edit this correctly.
You bleep it?
What?
It's gonna be funnier if you bleep it.
It's
gonna be much funnier. I'm telling you right now.
If I'm gonna just bleep it, just say the name.
Just bleep it. It'll be so much funnier.
Yeah.
So it was. And this girl, like her hands in my pants, like she was fucking like she was actually like I'm not gonna at all say she's slutty at all, but she was just like a girl who knew what she wanted, and like it was fucking awesome. And she was just like, and she was like talking to me before about how like, oh, I kind of always wanted to have a threesome, guy or girl, I don't care. And I'm like, I'm such a sexual deviant. I'm like, I don't give a shit. Like, you know what I mean? Like, whatever's fun and new, we can try out as long as it's mutual. I don't give a fuck. You know what I mean? It truly is. Like, it's never like it's. So I was like, yeah, whatever, man. And I'm also a college kid that's like just so happy that anybody's taking an interest in me. And she looks over at me and goes, you can join if you want. Totally cool with it. And I looked at my man dead in the eyes, and I had been drinking that night, and I was like, she has me, man. Like, she's got hand on my balls.
You were ready for a devil's three-way.
Dude, I didn't care. I'm a fucking, like, in that moment, especially, I was like, let's fuck this chick on the beach, dude.
What's so goddamn funny about it is because I never had an experience like that at that bonfire. I think that time I was looking for buried treasure. That was my focal point. I remember
we buried beer. That's actually really funny. We buried beer and couldn't find it.
I buried a Pabst Blue Ribbon case.
Still there, baby.
Well, I remember one time I couldn't go, and I remember Mark was trying to find it for me.
I remember this. I was at that one. Yeah. We were trying to find the beer. Yeah. So she looked over at him. To his credit, looked at her and said, "Nah, I'm just gonna take a walk." And the dude just gets up and leaves, and we proceed to just basically like bang on the beach. Like it was probably one of the hottest things that's ever happened to me, actually. Like I'm being honest, and I'm like, I'll give all the credit in the world to this girl, man. Like she painted a fantasy for me, man. Like it was one of the few times I felt like I was in a porno movie, except like the one time the pizza guy didn't stay. Like
I gotta say, man, when it came to that area, that part of the beach, that place was like, when it came to summer, that was the definitive place where I loved going to. Any excuse to have a bonfire there, I was like, I'm in, ready to go. And he's like, well, Ibsen, we don't have wood. And I was like, I have like 18 feet of fence line that I'm not using. I'm going to bring a shit ton of wood with me.
Yeah, that was basically it, yeah. I love how you segued so quickly into me.
I'm just...
Because you're right. That's the end of the story. Because
he did it again.
Just kind of walked back, and I'll never forget what he said to me after. Because we all like said goodbye, and she like made out with me and everything. And she was like fucking like, this girl was a firecracker. But she would like wink at me and like be like, she would like say things to me like that was sweet. And I'm like, this is awesome. Like,
what do you figure? When was that? What do you figure? Like 2011?
Yeah, like 2011.
What's so funny is, as of 6 months ago, we were talking with Dane and Cole, and they were like, they never even knew that whole thing happened.
It's amazing to me because it was so like I'm not good at like, especially when it comes to women, man. I've never like when I'm with a girl, like I like spending time with them. So like I'll just like mysteriously fuck off. Like I'm probably with a girl. Like I always tell people that. I'm just like,
I know. There's been plenty of times where you and I would go to a place together, and
that's different. You're talking about
you, and I'm with you. And
don't bring this. So this makes me feel.
No, I'm just saying. Like you and I, we go to events together, and.
When I would hook up with girls and just leave you.
You would just fucking disappear, and I'd be like, where's she go? And I'm thinking my ride home was gone, and you were just in the parking lot fucking people.
That must have been at Kaminsky's.
I don't know about Kaminsky's. I don't know if you want me to name the place that we were at.
Where were we at?
This was during Hurricane Sandy.
Oh yeah! Dude, I was so newly single, and that was another instant. Like, there was just a girl there that like just.
You were newly single at that point?
Yeah, man. I was after that was my long-term relationship. That was a mess.
Okay.
And I was like, and we had broken up, but that was like the end of it. Like that was it.
Yeah.
And like, I fucking
Because again, you've never been shy about that, but usually you'll give me a hint, be like, "Hey, Ibby, I'll be back in like a half hour."
No, because the relationship I was in it wasn't great. And it just was bad. And I was just, when you get out of something like that and then like someone else is willing to touch your dick and and you're dressed like a pirate. Let me tell you. Did I ever tell you about the time? that I got this girl tried to trick me into fucking a guy?
What? We'll be right back with that story after this short break.
What was I saying? Oh yeah, so we were at Kaminsky's. I'll fucking drop the name of this place, but I hooked up with this girl. Like this girl, like fucking, like we flirted. It happened organically and naturally. We made out in the car, and she said, "Hey,
was I with you?"
I don't remember. Maybe. You're not the most memorable part of the story, so I don't know.
Okay.
And this is like so the weirdest thing in my life. Like it was just like because we hooked up. Like she was like, come back to my dorm room on my Stony Brook, and I'm like, we're in fucking Kaminsky, so I was like, yeah, it's fucking 5-minute drive. I'm gonna go get laid, and she was like, she was hot, man. She was cute, and I was like, peace. I'm gonna go get laid. I go to this place. I'm hitting her up because I couldn't find her dorm room, and I was like hitting her up. I'm like, where is it? And she goes, yeah, like it's here, like I'll be out. And I said, okay. And then all of a sudden, like I'm walking off, and all of a sudden I hear this guy, "You Joe?" And I'm like, yeah, there's a dude. And I was like, and I'm a little, like I'll admit, I was a little fucking buzzed up. So I was just like, yeah, what's up? And in my head, I'm like, oh, this must be her.
Time out. Let me just make sure I get this correct. So you had left Kaminsky's and you drove to Stony Brook University, and this is this guy just talking to you.
No, he's like said it, and I was just like, yeah, and he goes, like they said her. He said her name. I was like, oh, maybe she's like getting ready or some shit. Brings me up to the room and like gives me a drink and everything like that, and then like I'm like, he's still there, and I'm like, what the fuck is going on right now? And then like he kind of turns and is like, so we were kind of talking, and like we wanted to see if it would be like if she like watched you and me fool around. And I looked at him, I looked at her, and I was just kind of like, oof, nah, that's not happening tonight, man. Because I thought he said threesome, and again, it goes back to like, because like there's pussy involved.
I have never heard this story before in my entire life.
I'll never forget this as long as I live.
I've never heard this show. I've never heard this story before in my entire life. I've known you goddamn 15 years already.
I swear to God, I've told you this. Really, this is crazy. Yeah. This is a true story. I'll never forget this. I'll never fucking forget this because he just looks at me and goes, and I'm like, I'm really not. And I said it to him, like, I'm not into guys. Like, I was polite about it. Like, I wasn't like, I didn't call him some fucking slur and run out. You know what I mean? Like, because also in my head, this is how much of a fucking puss hound I am. I really, like, because in my head, I'm like, all right, so all I have to do is get him out of here and I can just have sex with her.
You were still trying to salvage it.
I wanted to get laid, man.
I just gotta get rid of this unpleasant distraction, and then I get to get back into the game.
And I was just like, what is happening right now? Because I thought in my head, I was like, well, he's gonna leave, and I'm gonna have sex with her, and I was just like, and then he was just like, oh, well, I guess you can leave, and I'm like, really? Like,
I guess you can leave. Well,
in my head,
clearly,
in my head,
oh, you can leave.
In my head, I was just like, that's the spider trying to catch the fly. And then I freaked out for a minute because I remember he gave me a drink and he was sangria and I downed it. And I was like, oh fuck, like I got Cosby'd, like. Because I left and I was like, because I remember as I was leaving, I'm like, fuck, I drank that sangria, and I was terrified that all of a sudden I was going to start being like fucking Will Ferrell from Old School, like, wait. I'm gonna wake up hanging from a ceiling with like a fucking candle up my ass or some shit.
Oh my god,
dude!
Joe, I had never heard this story.
Right? Isn't that fucked up? Like, it's weird, and like, it's not like I wasn't mad,
because there's plenty of times. Listen, in the early days of college, we would go to Comiskey's, and then
I got laid at Comiskey's a lot. That's why I just kind of.
Yeah, and then eventually we would go to and listen. It was very common. There was plenty of lot of promiscuous women at Comiskey's, but then
it was everybody. Like, to say it was just everybody was just a horrible whore there. Like that.
Oh,
yeah. Like, you can't say like the women. Like, I used to go there.
There's not a lot of nice females there.
There's one in particular that's amazing. That was amazing.
Oh yeah. But the point I'm trying to make is eventually we graduated and we never went back to Comiskey's.
Yeah, that was a college bar. That was that was.
I mean, I'll be honest. I started drinking there even before I was 21.
Yeah, of course.
So I don't want to name this person because he knew I wasn't 21 and he was giving me drinks. But he would hook me up.
I know exactly what you're talking about because he hooked me up too. So good dude for the record. But we don't want him to get in trouble.
I started college when I was 17, so he gave me that experience without me being of legal age, which was great. But eventually, it got to the point where you and I were like, there's a better place we can go.
Well, that was also, it was cheap drinks and fast women type situation. And it was like,
100%.
And when you're like a 21, 18, 19-year-old kid, that's all you care, guy or girl. You're like, whatever, I want to party, which is where we were at the time. But yeah, like that was that was a guy who tried to have sex with me in front of another girl. And like,
I had never heard the story.
Dude, I swear to God, I've told you this before. Maybe you just don't remember.
Listen, I would have remembered the story. You fucking kidding me?
Yeah, and I remember, like, I wasn't like I said, I wasn't offended about it. I was just trying to explain to him, like, I'm not into that, which right. But like, I guess I'm a little flattered because he did try like a little bit. He's like, oh, come on, man, you're like a cool guy. You ever just felt the power of a man? And I'm like, nah, I'm good, dude. Like I remember him saying that to me. Like he tried. So I was like, I kind of wanted to turn around and be like, thank you, man. Like, just in case I ever decide to be gay, I guess I know. Like,
did he ever put his hands on you?
No, dude. It was. I'm being honest. Like, it was never. It wasn't creepy. It wasn't creepy. It was just.
No,
weird.
I mean, what I'm saying is, I'm using this term loosely, but did he try to massage the issue?
No, dude. It was like a fucking meeting. Like that was also what was so weird about it. Like there wasn't anything weird about it at all. Like he didn't. Like nobody tried to molest me or anything. Like it was just like I was just kind of sitting there, and he goes, "All right, so let me get down to brass tacks here. Lauren over. That's not her name, but like fucking Vicky over there is like might be interested in seeing two guys fuck. You in, Chief?" Like it was literally like that.
Are you in, Chief?
It was literally like this dude, and actually hats off to this guy because I don't think he was gay. I think
he's also been through this a couple times.
No, this was definitely like a scenario they had run a few times, and like afterwards they were just like, "Oh man, sorry, I guess like the spider didn't catch any flies tonight." Like,
So hold on, I gotta ask this.
Yeah, let's analyze this situation.
I gotta
do this for the last couple minutes of this. This is fun.
When it happened, were you like afraid of like leaving?
No. The only time I got afraid was when I remembered that I drank the drink and I was walking back to my car because I thought I was gonna fucking pass out.
Right, but like walking back to your car, did you think he was gonna come over with like fucking chloroform or anything?
Never. He wasn't. Dude, I'll be honest with you. It was that. He wasn't creepy or like it was literally.
It wasn't creepy. What?
What? I mean, it was an offer. Like that's not creepy to me, man. Like somebody just kind of comes up to me. It was
What's crazy about it is the girl. She sounds like
she said nothing the whole time. It was weird.
Yeah,
like I almost feel like maybe like part of me feels like she got back and was like, oh no, I gave this guy my address and he's coming over here, and she was like, can you help me and like pretend to have sex? Like I like part of me thinks maybe it was that, like in hindsight, like I was just like, because I was like a fucking stupid kid, man. You know what I mean? And like you know, like I could understand somebody being like, I'm just not into this now, but I don't want to tell him no because I don't want to hurt somebody's feelings. I know what I'll do. I'm going to call my friend and have him pretend to have. Now that I say it out loud, that's a little ridiculous. This might have been legitimate.
I can honestly say the most, probably not. I don't know why. It's probably not the most awkward experience I've ever had.
It was awkward, but it wasn't like I never felt threatened. Of course,
I had a. You know what's so funny is I had blocked this so far from my mind before then, but I had a buddy of mine named Johnny. We went to Adrian's house for a Halloween party one year. Okay. And Loren was there and a couple other people were there. And we leave for the night. It was it was actually, I don't know if it was Adrian's house or James Alexander's house, but anyway.
You're chopping so many names right now. It's great.
That's fine. I mean, they're not incriminating.
All these names are great people, by the way.
They're not incriminating. If they happen to listen, then it's like, oh, yeah, I remember that night.
I happen to love all these guys, so.
Of course. So we leave their Halloween party, and me and my buddy Johnny were walking down the street to get to our car, and he sees this woman, and he goes, oh, yo, Ibsen, I know this girl. I know these people who live here. And we go to their house, and he's like, come on, let's go to their house. They're having a party. And I'm going, I don't know who these people are. And we go in, and we're there, and it's kind of awkward because I don't know these people, and they're laughing, they're having a good time. And this one girl starts getting handsy with me, and I'm like, okay, cool. You know, I'm like 18 years old.
Yeah. Because you're 18 and stupid. Okay. That's what I was thinking.
I'm 18 and fucking stupid. And my buddy Johnny's bringing me to these people's houses he knows and whatnot. And I'm like, I don't know what relation he has to them, if they're family or friends or college people. I have no idea.
And there was this guy. He was like 6'5", and he was just like making eyes at my buddy. And I didn't know what to make of it. I tried keeping to myself with this girl, but in the corner of my eye, I just kept seeing these creepy vibes, just feeling it. And I was trying to ignore it, and then eventually
he goes to me. He's like, hey, I was mistaken. I don't know who these people are. He has no idea who these people are. And we've been at their house for over an hour.
It's hilarious. That was, you know what? That's a perfect segue into, because I know we don't got much time left, but I do want to talk a little bit about, because that to me is the perfect example of what ACTF was.
Oh my God, ACTF.
ACTF was just wandering through the hallways saying hi to people and seeing if
all right. So here's the deal. We're an hour and 46 minutes in. I'm going to break this into two parts. Don't worry.
Yeah, we're going to do the last 15 minutes now.
No last 15 minutes. I don't want to rush any of this, but I do have some questions for you at the end of this. All right, so we'll talk
about ACTF, then we'll wrap it up. But it's gonna
keep in mind. I
are you going to piss again? Is that what you're going to go do right now?
I pitched for 10 minutes already, so don't. Even though it says an hour and 46 minutes, it doesn't exactly mean an hour and 46 minutes. I will keep this at an hour and a half. Don't worry. But let's keep talking. All right. So what were you saying?
It's just as a segue of ACTF, like that to me was because like I mean, not every year like. You have to anybody listening, you have to understand like ACTF was all these different schools competing like in these different regions.
Yeah.
And if the craziest times was
but
when
it was like spring break. It was wintertime spring break, where you have all this debauchery with all these schools. And
you mean like winter break?
Guys and girls getting together, and it was just like a free-for-all.
Yeah. And when I went, the first time I went, it was Philadelphia, actually, and all the schools were in one hotel.
Oh.
So that was just like that. I remember like, because it was like every room, like it wasn't like I remember there was like one floor that was like the faculty floor.
Mm-hmm.
But like, I mean, we got away with murder at these places. The first year I went.
I don't want to cut you off, but there was plenty of times where it was, the faculty floor. That wasn't always the case. I remember, and I'm not going to drop this name to get this person in trouble. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it.
Don't drop any names.
I'm not dropping any names. But a faculty member knocked on my door one day, and he's like, "I heard you've got." Hold on, I'm gonna have to edit this because I can't.
Hold on, I'm gonna just ask you. I'll see if I can guess who this is.
This person told me, "Oh, I heard you've got Schlitz beer," because hold on.
Yeah, I knew it. Oh, okay.
He's like, "I heard you've got Schlitz beer. I haven't had."
Of course, he would say that.
Are you willing to part with some? And I thought Schlitz fucking sucked. Because apparently we were in a dry county when I went to this particular ACTF.
That was New Hampshire, right?
No, this was Hyannis, Massachusetts.
Cape Cod?
Near Cape Cod, yeah. So you had to go to a certain area. Now, there was a bar where this one professor, which I highly respect, we might have talked about him before, I asked him to meet me at this bar because it was the first time I was of legal age. I was like 23, 24 at the time. And I've always wanted to drink with this person. So he came and joined me. This person knocked on my door just for this reason. And he's like, I forgot what he did, but he wanted to do tradesies with me. He had something he wanted to give me. He's like, I'll give you this. Could you give me some of the, what was the shit that I just said? The beer. Schlitz. So I'm like, take it, man. It's yours. Because I thought Schlitz tasted a lot like Steel Reserve. And
harsh.
It's just no good.
Steel Reserve is a college beer.
It's the bottom of the barrel, dude.
You're either homeless or a college kid if you drink Steel Reserve on the road.
But you got to realize that at that time, the only people who were of age was me, James, and Jimmy Dalton.
You said, oh, yeah, Dalton.
Those were the only three people who were of age.
That's right.
Wouldn't you know it? Now I screwed up. Rob DeSario.
I partied. It didn't matter because here's the thing. You know how like if you weren't doing anything, the faculty would be like, "Oh, you should be taking some of the workshops." You know what I mean?
You should be. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I was like, yeah, I'll take some workshops, no problem.
But like, I was my excuse always because that year that I went, I was in the finals. And I'm like, yeah, but I gotta concentrate on this shit. And they're like, yeah, no, represent. And I got mad one time because I remember like we made it, like we broke and like nobody else was left except me and the guy who was the nominee out of Suffolk, and it was everybody was kind of.
Hold on. I just messaged you.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was him.
Okay, just making sure. Okay.
But like, so everybody kind of like that was like a moment for me. I remember that was like a moment for me at that school because I don't think anybody. And this is not me jerking myself off or anything. It was just kind of blatant. I wasn't the golden boy. There was somebody who was nominated who was the golden boy. And he didn't make it out of the first room, and I did. And I don't think anybody expected me to make it out of that first room. Right. And that made a lot of people in the department look at me differently because of that. And because of the person I was with, because I don't want to down them because they have a thing they do very well with what they do. You know what I mean? And I just tried to figure out a way to make that work because I wanted to like succeed. I didn't want to, I wasn't going at it like, I'm going to crush these people, but like I wanted to at least get out of the first room. I remember thinking that I'm like, I want to at least get out of the first room. And then after I got to the first room, made it to the second round, and everybody was like, all right. And I was very chill about the whole thing. I'm like, cool, thank you very much. I'm just going to go I'm going to go drink my face off now, blah, 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 and bullshit. Because that was it. Like, I would do that, and I would get done, and then that's when I started becoming that. The ACTF was when I started becoming friends with O'Connor. That's when we started being really good friends. We started drinking together then. So I would go down. There was $2 MGDs at the bar in the hotel. So I would get finished and I would just go down and drink. And because all my times were at 3 p.m, so I could sleep in till 1 o'clock, sober up, and then go over my lines. And I'm being completely honest about this because I really like that was everybody. All these kids asked me my fucking process, and they asked us like, "What did you do when you got it?" I'm like, "I partied all night and I woke up and then I did it." And I'm not trying to make myself seem pretentious, but like that's what I did. Right. Like, and I made it to the finals. So it was whatever, and we didn't win the whole thing. Came close. But I remember I got pulled aside by one of the professors. Actually, this was a professor that wasn't actually a theater professor, but he was like you know what I'm talking about. He was like the hanger-on theater professor. That guy. He comes up to me. Yeah. And he fucking, he says like, I just want to talk to you about something. And I'm like, what's up? And he goes, I'm concerned. I'm like, everybody's concerned. I'm like, concerned about what? Because I'm like, concerned. The fuck do you have to be concerned about? Like, you know what I mean? Right. Like we're doing it. Like we made it. Like even if we don't win, like we're in the finals. Like Jesus. Like what is the concern? And I thought they were going to give me shit about me staying out all night. I thought somebody ratted on my ass. I thought somebody because I was like out fucking I was like fucking hitting on girls.
But I mean, if it works, it works.
Yeah, that's my thing. But I thought one of the other like there was at that time, I was a much louder personality, and I definitely did. I gave much less of a fuck back then. I did not care what I said or people thought of me. And I know there was some people that I'm friends with now that were like, this dude's a psychopath, and I don't like him. Like I know that. And that's fine because I was. But I thought somebody ratted on me about me going out and drinking all night and everything and partying and like, I remember like fucking like there was nice. You saw me like walked into, I had friends, like I made friends that I would go and hang out with. I didn't just hang out with the Suffolk kids because I wanted to like mix with randoms and everything, dude. And I wanted to fucking meet chicks. That's what I mean, I'm being honest. Like I wanted to meet girls, man. And there was so many beautiful women there too.
That you want to go do that. You're dealing with like the most talented people in the tri-state area. Of course you want to do that.
So like, so they pull me aside and they're just like, we're a little concerned. I was like, well, you haven't been very enthusiastic this whole time. And I said, what? And it was like, you haven't been very enthusiastic this whole time. They were mad that I wasn't more excited that I broke through. And I was just like, and I did say this, and I was just kind of so pissed off. I just kind of wanted to say something. So I just looked at him and I said, I'll be excited when we win. like, what do you want me to do? Do cartwheels? Like, but it wasn't me being like, a win isn't a win until you have a trophy. It was just me thinking like, well, in my head, I'm like, I don't really want to celebrate this because like, if I celebrate this, really hard and, I don't get through the next round, then I'm like, well, I just, I should celebrate if we win the whole thing or like at least till at the end, like, let's see it through to the end, see how far we make. Cause I was like, in my head, I'm like, well, we're not finished yet. You're telling me to celebrate and it's fucking halftime. You know what I mean?
There was a person who came to me that I highly respected. And he was with me.
No,
no, I'm not gonna. I'll relax. I'm not gonna say the name. But this person came to me when I was with Dalton, and he goes, "Did you go to any classes?" And I'm like, "No." Well, how come you're not going to any classes? And I was like, "I can't. I performed. We didn't get out of the first round. I'm here to enjoy myself. I'm moving to Georgia in 6 months. I got nothing else going on here." And he goes, "Fair enough." So I just remember going to
definitely someone who appreciates the honesty.
I did
both, man. I was a candle at both ends guy.
I'm gonna put it in the chat here so you know.
I know exactly who this is. Yeah, I know. Yeah, of course it was him.
Yeah. So he got it right away. He was like, "All right." Because again, he knew that I was done after this.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
So I was here to enjoy myself and get drunk and go to the fucking spa and relax.
Oh boy, did we ever! But like, that was the thing. Like it, yeah. Like I remember, I remember like getting really annoyed at that. And that's where the disconnect with me began with a lot of, because like I think looking back on it, I think after that they wanted me, because I remember like certain people coming up to, I almost said a fucking name that I shouldn't. I remember like certain people coming up to me after that, like some of the head of the department who had never spoken to me before, never took an interest in me, but after I fucking almost put the school on the map. What's that? Oh, you know what I'm talking about. He wears a lot of hats. That's so inside. Only certain people will get that.
Okay. All right.
And everything. And I'm just like, and it was upsetting to me because I was like, really, I was like working hard at that point, to try, because I didn't know what I was doing. I was figuring out how to be an actor. I was, and I've always prided myself on this. I've always still been that metalhead kid. And I pride myself on that because that's really who I am. That's not me not growing up or not moving forward. I learn things, I educate myself, I grow as a person, but I'm always that just metalhead kid. Like, you know what I mean? And that's how I think. And I just, in my head, I was like, you're asking me to you're asking me to celebrate a touchdown and there's like a whole hour left on the game. And that's weird to me. That's just weird that you would ask me to do that. That's like that's like me going up, doing a set at like Governors or McGuire's, and then halfway through the set being like, can I have my applause now? Like, that's ridiculous. You know what I mean? And
right.
Like, I know that it was just, looking back on it, it was definitely like people that were jealous of me that I made it, and that was never my intention, but looking back on it, I think there were certain people that are upset at me that I made it, that I wasn't a nominee. I don't know why anybody could give a fuck. And I definitely didn't walk around like my shit didn't stink or anything like that. I was there to be someone's partner. I looked at it like a job. That's my perspective on everything.
That was awesome. And then my job was done.
I didn't have my head up my ass. I talked about this before. I fucking hate when I've got to, when people walk around like they're, I don't know, Edward Norton in the middle of a seminar doing yoga and talking about breathing. Like, it's ridiculous. And I hate it because I'm just like, that's what you don't get, because you're so concerned with your fucking process and you're so concerned with your fucking like everything that, and I'm like, you're doing it wrong. You're doing it wrong because it's not about always doing the same thing over and over again. It's about getting something into your fucking muscle memory so you can just do it. So you don't have to sit there and do tongue twisters anymore or any of this shit. I'll still remember this shit to this day. And I don't care if this makes me sound like a fucking blowhard, but this was fucking ridiculous. We were doing one of the Shakespeare festivals, and I won't name any names, but we had to do tongue twisters. And there was the new kids and us, and they didn't know any of the tongue twisters. And we all knew the tongue twisters. Because we took the time to know them, and it was not that the younger kids are lazy, man. I'm not saying that, but it's a different thing for them. And that was the first time I learned, and I'll never forget, because the director of this show, who is not something I would put up with. This is somebody said to him like, I feel like I'm being bullied into learning. And listen, I would want to be very clear. This is not a political statement. He was wrong because he just didn't know the lines to these tongue twisters that the director had, like. I don't know what else to say. If you show up to work and they say, "Hey, did you do that report?" and you go, "No, I didn't." Don't bully me into fucking working. Right. That's a ridiculous statement. You just didn't do the work. You know what I mean? And that was a whole thing. And like, listen, I'm all about people. I respect when I was acting full time, I respected anybody's process, whatever you did. I cared about having a good show. I stayed out of your fucking business. I did me. And I know I got shit because some people said he doesn't take it fucking seriously, or he doesn't blah, 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 because I wouldn't sit and Indian chant with people. But that doesn't do anything for me. That doesn't help. But then that's not how I do this and how I did it. You know what I mean? And that's not me being pretentious. I was always fucking nice about it. I remember one time people got mad at me because I wouldn't participate in a group prayer. And it wasn't even the whole cast. And I was just,
Wait,
Yeah.
Suffolk? There was a
I said like, hey, it's not really my thing. I would feel, and I told her because it's not that I'm an atheist. I'm not. Yeah, I'm not Christian, and it's just, you know what I mean. And because I can't be enough of an asshole to be an atheist. Like, I wish I could. That seems like such a level of troll that I wish I could live at. But like, yeah, like it's just not my thing, and I feel uncomfortable with it anyway. And I was just kind of explaining that, and she kind of just shot me daggers, and she was just kind of like, "Well, everyone else is doing it. Maybe you should just suck it up." And I'm like, "All right, lady, like, why don't you calm down?" I think people hated how chill I was. I was so chill about everything, even when I went to go finish my associates, and I remember like, because I didn't know what I was doing at one point, and thank God I found comedy, because I can't help but make jokes about a lot of stuff and everything, and I
do want to get into that,
and everything. But like at the time when I was like trying to figure out where I was, because what happened is basically, if you want to get into it, I'll just start now. I was acting on and off 10 years, that, in my 20s. I admit I passed up some things that I probably shouldn't have. I fancied myself an artist, which was dumb, and I thought I was gonna be the next Jack Nicholson. This is not me admitting to failure. I just I did have those opportunities, and I did prove myself, and then I thought it was cooler to say no. You know what I mean? I turned down commercials, some stuff, that just from doing extra work, which I should have stuck with longer. But I did get work out in California at this really fucking cool theater group, this small budding theater company out in Northern California. And great actors, great people. And I knew the girl who actually was somebody that I met from ACTF. Actually, funny enough, that's how full circle that fucking shit is. You never know who you're going to meet at those fucking things.
ACTF was a great experience for people. I mean, I remember, when Nick and Rob, they were in a competition, and they won.
Oh, yeah, I know this story. This is why to this day Steve will look at Rob and say, "You're a hilarious drunk." He said that, like, he's fucking. If you, God willing, you ever get to see Rob DeSario again, if you see him again, you have to ask him about that.
I was with.
He said that Steven has said, like, I think you're, like, said to him, like, I think you're hilarious drunk. Because didn't they come in like second or like runner up, and they came on stage and they were chanting USA or some shit?
Yeah. So ACTF, it was my second time ACTF in Poughkeepsie. And that was the year that Rob and Nick were alternate. And I was drinking with them all goddamn day. All day. And I remember Nikki was like, "Hey, I got family here. They can bring
us." Yeah, this weird story too.
they could bring us to the theater for the award ceremony.
Nikki's a great guy, for the record. I have not seen him in a long time, but he was always a cool dude.
He's a sweetheart of a dude. So Nikki's cousin lived in Poughkeepsie at the time. I don't know if she still does or not, but so we're hanging out in the hotel. 822 was the room number. It ain't nothing to fuck with, 822. That was the slogan we had. But anyway, so we're drinking, and we're drinking hard.
Yo, that's the way it went at ACTF, man.
Eddie goes, "Oh my God, and they didn't know that they were going to get alternate. They had no idea, but they kept drinking like they were going to lose, like completely. They kept drinking like they didn't have to do anything. Like, we're going to show up and that's it." So we're drinking. Finally, we go, and they're like, "Oh, I can bring all you guys." And I'm thinking to myself, does this person have like a minivan? How is she going to get all these people in here? And it wasn't just the three of us. It was also Nikki, 4, Erica, that was 5, and I think like another person, I can't remember. So I'm like, we got a lot of people. How are we going to fit in this one car? Well, Nikki's cousin, she drove a school bus.
Yeah, I've heard the school bus, but it was like a short bus, right?
No, it was a fucking
Wait, it was a full. I thought it was a short bus. This was like a full size.
It was a short bus, but it was still a school bus.
Yeah, no, but like it would have been a lot of fun.
School bus, Joe.
Ibsen, back up. Wouldn't it have been so much funnier? Like a short bus is kind of like because
it was a short bus.
Yeah, it's a short bus. But if she had pulled up in a full, back up. Let me talk. You fuck. Let me talk. If she pulled up in a fucking full length school bus, I feel like that is a different reaction to her pulling up in a short bus.
No, because the short bus was run on vegetable oil. The car was
exactly. Wasn't she like a hippie person? Wasn't she like a real? Yeah. So that's immediately explained. If she pulls up in like a full length school bus and is just like, "Hey, what's up? My name's Diane." I have so many questions that aren't going to be answered. But immediately, if you're like, it runs on vegetable oil, I'm going to, oh, you must be like a hippie. It's like, I know girls like that. Dude, there's a girl who drives a school bus in my town. It's red.
Dude, so the school bus, right? It had the seats.
No, by the way, it's still hilarious. Like, if I saw it, I'd be like, what the fuck? Like, I'm not discrediting your reaction.
The school bus had seats in it, and then there was a mattress in the back that wasn't like strapped down or anything.
Chicks love it. It's the shaggin' wagon.
Shaggin' wagon. So
wait, I remember the dirty mattress because I remember Rob telling me this story, and him just describing the mattress was insane.
Nick was just like surfing on the mattress because the mattress kept moving. So they're high, drunk, whatever. We're all just hammered on the way to the thing. We're running late. And they have no idea they're about to be alternate. So they have no expectation on being on stage, which they actually were on stage. So we all just got fucking wrecked. And it's like January. We're freezing our fucking ass off. This thing didn't have any heat in it. It was run on vegetable oil. It smelled terrible. And we get there. And as soon as we show up late. And not more than like 10 minutes later after we sit down, they're like, I don't want to say the names, but hey, you guys are alternates. And they have to go on stage, and Rob is just fucking hammered. Nick is trying to direct him onto the stage, and
wasn't he like fucking pumped? Like he was like, did they get a USA chant?
Yes, they were all pumped, and Rob starts like fist bumping on stage, and all of us from Suffolk are yelling, USA, 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 and Rob is just pumping his fist, and none of the faculty except for Steven loved it. They thought it was hilarious.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Yeah. And then they're like, holy shit, like we made alternate. And I remember like Rob's about to walk off stage and Nick is about to give him a hug, and Rob just walks off stage.
That was a high five.
He just leaves Nick hanging. Oh my God, it was so goddamn funny. And then we got back on the bus and you're like, you guys just got to alternate. Oh God, that shit was so funny. I have pictures of that night too still.
I don't think I have any pictures.
Oh, I got plenty.
ACTF.
I got plenty.
I remember one ACTF that I was at. Mm-hmm. I got so bombed it was the first one. I got so bombed on the last night. And I like fucked off to like go hang out with these girls, right? I met them at the party. They were like hanging out with me. I'm like, this is gonna be fucking great. Mm-hmm. Take me up to their room. There's a couple friends there. One girl was like really hot and punky and like gothy, and I was like, I love you and everything. I'm like, I love you. I'm ready to like, like I don't know if you know this about me, but when a girl like that, I'm like, I'll give you whatever you need. Yeah. Like I'll just like there. Yeah, I'm like, whatever you need. Like, I'll paint a portrait of you. Like, I just get so obsessed. Not in an unhealthy way. I become such a little bitch.
I'll build your house with blue shutters, whatever you want. Yeah,
I'll do whatever you need me to do. I'm like, please just look at me. Just hit me. Like, so I was like, but I was like slugging drinks at the after party. Like, I was going hard, and I've been going hard all week.
What show is this? Like, what ACTF is this?
This was, I don't even remember.
Was I there?
No, you weren't there. I never went to an ACTF with you.
Really?
Yeah. See, you said this before. You've had this is the same. I've said this to you before because you said, you remember, and I said, Ibsen, I've never been to an ACTF with you. Huh. You have selective memory. Although that just means we have good friendships.
Yes.
Anyway, I got so bombed the last night that I went to go hang out with these girls. Like, we're going to go up to our room and smoke weed. And I'm like, fuck yes, let's go smoke weed. And we went up to the – actually, I think if I may correct myself, I think I had stolen James's weed because he had drank all my Jack Daniels. Mm-hmm. So I was like, let's go smoke weed if I remember correctly. Let me correct myself. So we went up there and we were like – and I was drinking, and I just got – I remember – the best part about it was I was, like, talking, and then you ever felt yourself slowly get too fucked up, and you're like, no.
Oh,
like,
yeah. We're just
like, 1 second you're fine.
It's just tunnel vision, and you can't stop yourself.
Yeah, yep. And I was like – I slowly – like, I was sitting on the bed, and all of a sudden I just slowly started putting my head down. And I didn't even realize my head was down until, like – one of the girls said, "You're all right, Joe?" And I said, "Nah, I'm going to go throw up, and then you're going to have to bring me back down to my room." That's exactly what I said. Right. And they go, "What?" And I walk into their bathroom, I throw up, I clean myself up, and then I fall out of the bathroom, and I said, "Yeah, I need help." Couldn't walk. Couldn't walk. I had these two women, these two amazing girls, and now I get really mad at this one guy because he kicked him out of my room because nobody was in my room, and they brought me down to the room. And I was like, this is going to be great. They're going to stay in the room with me, and I'm going to have a threesome. And my fucking friend, who I love him, but I hated him in this moment, fucking kicked them out because he said I was too fucked up. And I'm like, are you kidding me right now? And I was too fucked up, but I was well aware of what I was doing. I thought I was going to hang out with the girls in my room, and he, like, kicked them out, and I'm laying on the bed so hammered, like going in and out of sleep. This was hilarious because I remember seeing things. Like, I remember closing my eyes, waking up, and different people like staring at me because there was a fucking mayhem happening in the hallway. I remember that. I remember there was like a huge fucking fight. Something happened, can't remember. So that went on like all night. And I was the only person that actually got sleep because I had passed out. So it was the only time passing out early was a good thing. I remember waking up, someone had taken my shoes off and tucked me in. I think that was Rob Doyle.
Okay.
And I was just, I was like, but I woke up. Apparently there was somebody had a huge throwdown fight. Like they were like harsh word. I don't know. I can't remember who it was.
I do, and even though I
do too. I think I was trying to pretend like I do because I really love this person, so I don't want to. I'm not going to say anything. But I know there was some huge fight that happened. No, no, different one. I'll tell that story next. But involves that other person. That person. Hold on. This is such high school bullshit. How do I spell? Wait, here it is. See the sadness. All right. It was a big drag down fight with something. You have to edit this part out. Like, I don't want. So something happened. And I remember all I'm saying is this, words were exchanged. People had to be corralled. People had to be talked down to 5 a.m. And nobody got sleep except for old Joe, who was smart enough to drink himself fucking belligerent that night and go fuck off. Cause I didn't know what was going on. I passed out and all this mayhem happened around me. Like that I remember specifically, like waking up the next day and everybody being mad at me and I slept through my hangover too. I'd gotten a full 8-10 hours of sleep. And I was the first one up, and I'm like, oh man, well, didn't, and I remember thinking I didn't get to hang out with those girls last night, but it was a good trip. And I had hooked up, I had hooked a girl fucking, cause I'm so stupid, a girl fucking laser locked onto me and got me the second day. I remember that. That was a crazy story.
Joe, we got to take a quick break, so go ahead and segue to the next story, and we'll be right back after this short break.
Jiu-jitsu-esque movements that couldn't reach, kind of holding him at bay.
You said his name again.
I know. I'm sorry. We can't use any of this. This is horrible. I hate all of this.
I gotta leave so much. All right, hold on. Let's get out of ACTF. This has been 45
because you kept interrupting the fucking story.
Yeah, but you keep saying the goddamn name. So how about this? Hold on. Okay, I got a couple questions.
I can read or digest the whole story right now. If you can edit all that out, I can read or digest the whole story. I bet you I can.
Go ahead.
Okay, here we go. So we're all playing the game. We're all playing the game catchphrase at ACTF, right? There's like 30 people in a room, okay? There's one kid that you and I both know is one of those guys that you do not tell to shut up if you don't know who he is, which is a thing that we've talked about of like, don't walk up to somebody you don't know and say, hey, man, by the way, I fucked your wife last night because you're going to get hit. You're going to get hit, man. You're going to get hit. So he was, I guess he was in his awkward phase. He was trying to, like, he just misinterpreted how people actually hang out. So he kept telling our friend that he needs to shut up. Like, hey, shut up, man. And finally, and like, you know, he just turned and like puffed up and he kind of looked like, the best way I could describe it is like the Shredder, because he had like he had this hat on that was like over his eyes and he just was like the shadow and it was just like a Rokusaki. Like fucking... He choked this kid and like just bow, like karate chopped his hand out. And immediately me and Cole he was like, and like angry too. Like, don't you tell me to shut up, motherfucker. And I looked at Cole and we just jumped on him. And Cole had the arm that was on the kid and I was on his other arm, just trying to like get him down like to the bed. And we get him down to the bed. Everybody, and the room fucking like Ibs, the room filters out like a concert has gone wrong because there's like 30 of us in there. The room clears, like everybody's like, gotta get out. And there's violence afoot. The room fucking, I don't remember whose room it was. We were in somebody's room. And like, we weren't in our room. Our room is smaller. This was one of the larger rooms. And this room filtered out and we've got him on the bed. Everything's calmed down. And Cole, God bless him, has got this like hunter's sense with his friends. And he knew this guy really well enough because he had been out with him enough where he kind of looked. You can say this, like he walks over to me and that like Cole thing where he's got his fucking fingernail in his mouth and he just goes, we're like, because he's laughing and he just, when he starts laughing, he like Cole goes over to me and just goes,
if he starts laughing, you knew that was about to happen.
Cole whispers in my ear and just goes, yo, Jojo, it's not over yet. It's not over. And I'm like, what are you talking about? He's like, it's not over. Just watch me. And I'm like, okay. And the door, he's like laughing. He's in front of the door. The door swings open and the kid's there. And he all of a sudden stops mid-sentence. He's like, ha, ha, ha. And then he just goes and tries to Superman punch the kid, like try to grab him or something, and like just hits the wall because he's pissed at this point. He's all jacked up. And we're like, hey, man, we're right here. Let's go to the room. And everybody calms down. You know, it's all, you know, and we've got teachers coming up to us and we're like, it's fine. Everything's fine. Nobody actually got hurt. You know, it was an altercation. Nobody actually got hurt. Like, you know, I know the kid that got choked. We got so mad that he went and punched a stop sign. And that's the only reason that anybody got hurt. He actually fractured his hand. Fucking idiot. And that became a big problem later on. But like, I remember later on in the room, funniest thing was later on in the room, I'm fucking like, we're all like getting ready to go to bed and everything like that. We had called you and he's going off. Like he's calming down, but we're like, now we're actually like laughing about it. Like there's no threat there now.
Sure.
And, he goes, man, you know, he's lucky you were there, Joe. He's lucky you were there, Cole. He's lucky you were there, Kevin. Who held him back? Some girl? And I go, no, it wasn't some girl. It was, and I'm going to text you the name right now because I'm just not going to.
Here we go.
And that's exactly what he did when I said that. I said that name because he goes, some girl. And I said, no, actually, that was a guy. His name's so-and-so. And he just lost it. And I was like, and then that was literally after that. He's like, all right, good night, guys. Like, and we went to bed.
Oh, my God.
So edit all the rest of that stuff out and just use that story.
I got it.
That was the best I've ever told that story. Holy shit.
All right. So, hold on. I got a couple of
questions
for you.
All right, we'll do that, and then we can wrap it up after that.
Yeah, sorry, I was seeing if
edit all that long form bullshit ACTF stuff.
I thought I might have had a special guest come on real quick, spur of the moment, to surprise you.
Carl?
No.
Daniel?
All right, hold on a minute. So, Joe, what was your favorite show that you were a part of in college? And what was a show that you were a part of? No, excuse me. I'm drunk. What was a show that you wish you could have been a part of? multi-part question.
So I'll answer the first question. My favorite show I was a part of. For a long time, it was Cyrano. I was just really.
You can also go in with Shakespeare Festival too, if anything.
Yeah, but I think the show that meant the most to me, and not even like I'm not trying to get all meh about it, but the show that I really liked was when I went back to finish my degree, I actually did one more show. Just it was one of those things, just kind of happened, and I met. It was a show called Millfire, and it did. It wasn't. I don't feel it was my best performance. It was really. I got to work with some really cool kids in that show.
It was more cathartic for you.
Yeah, it was a really cathartic experience. I think I really needed that because I was at the time I was kind of in a bad place. I was going through a lot of stuff and everything, and I was trying to exercise some demons, if you will. And I thought a part of that was kind of like I never felt like you hang on to things, and it's dumb. It's dumb to hang on to things, and it just bothered me that I kind of never got just like one shot to do a show. It sounds dumb in hindsight now. This is a couple of years ago at this point. But I think I just needed to do one show there, get out of my system. And, the department was actually very small at the time. There wasn't a whole lot of guys. So I didn't take anything from anybody else. So I didn't feel like I stepped in and just took something. I felt like I was almost there as a teacher's aide at one point. It was this weird spiritual thing that I was kind of dealing with at the time. And because of that, I actually wound up on comedy. But that show, Millfire, because of the girls I got to work with and the other actors, who I'm, to this day, I called them my girls. Like I may never have kids, but like I know these three girls that I met on it are extremely talented and very cool. And I love them like sisters. They're very, very, very talented. And that gave me hope because they did it the way that we did it. You know what I mean? Those three girls specifically, they didn't have their heads up their asses or anything. And they didn't walk into it with a big head. They wanted to do.
Did you feel that you were kind of a mentor?
I don't like that word because that.
Well, I don't want to say mentor, but like
I helped them out. I definitely would.
You had aspirations in teaching, so did you?
I did for a while. I did, and then I realized I would fucking hate the system. So, but. Yeah, that was like my little thing, and that was a really special show for me just because of that point. Show I wish I could have been a part of. It's easy to say like Boys of Winter, but I wanted to. If there was one show that I really wish I could have been a part of, especially because you were in it. Actually, you were in it. And I was almost in it, and it was Durangan with a side of Ives. I really wanted to be in that.
Really, you wanted to be in that one?
I love comedy, dude. I never got.
What did you want to do in that show?
I didn't care. I loved, and I've sensed
that was probably one of my most rewarding shows that I've ever done because I actually had a pretty juicy part in that show.
Yeah, that was a fun show. I loved seeing that one, and for me.
That was a lot of fun. Me and Robbie had a lot of fun.
That was great. So. That was you guys had that whole last half hour. But that was just I never got to do comedy. Did Steven, especially when Steven when I kind of like he found out a way to use me in a way and was like kind of figuring out what kind of actor I was. He loved using me in dramas, which was great, which was awesome. It was I got to be in Three Musketeers as Athos, and that was like a big deal for me at the time and everything. And but after a while, I look at my track record and I'm like, I have played guys who have seen shit. And I think my brain's starting to hurt. I'd like to laugh, please.
Yeah, and it's so strange because, you're a very comedic person, and the fact that you're always in dramas, it baffled me when you've got such a great comedic presence about you. So, anyway, next question.
What is your favorite memory of us?
You or Justin? You and me?
No, you and me.
You really want me to tell you this?
I mean, if I have to edit that out, I will. But go ahead. What's your favorite?
I'll do two. I'm going to do two because I love you. Okay.
All right. Fair enough.
One of my favorite memories is when we were doing Tempest. Was you had a keg at your house? Your dad had a keg.
Yeah.
And he brought it back from a party or something, and he was like,
it wasn't used.
Yeah, like wasn't used. He was like, oh, it's like half full. It wasn't half full. It was like because
he paid for the deposit.
Yeah.
It was one that he didn't use. It was left over from a party he went.
Yeah,
but he already paid for it. He needed to get rid of it within like 4 days.
Yeah, and so every day we would just go over your like it was always a different. I was always there, but it's always like a different grouping. But it was like, gotta finish the keg. Like we would come back there, and we did. We had to finish it. We finished it in like 4 days. But that was funny because after rehearsal, it's like, any more of that keg left? It's just
and it was like really good beer.
Yeah, it was fucking Heffen. It was Heffenweisen, is what it was.
Oh, Heffenweisen.
It was Heffenweisen because you're a German person. I don't know what a crowd. I don't know what it is.
Yep.
We had, and I just remember going over there every day for like a week straight just to finish the keg. And this is at the time we're like, oh, we got to finish the keg. You're still like young kids at the time, so we were like, this might take us.
It was during temp.
It was definitely during temp. I think, that was it. Your house always had beer in it.
Is there any kind of skill that you would love to master?
Archery.
Out of everything, archery?
It just seems cool.
Okay.
I play a lot of video games, man. Archers seem cool.
Is there any career that you would love to have? What would it be?
Ghostbuster.
Like
realistically, like if I could have that job for the movie, I'd do that today.
I mean,
I'd throw everything away.
Real life, like, is there a career that you would love to acquire?
Like something else,
like
something
that would actually make you money and shit. Like, have you ever thought about being a lawyer or a stockbroker?
No, it always seemed very boring to me. Never had any interest in any of that shit because I don't care about money, which is awful. I did early on when I was like 17. I was originally going to go to school to be a comic book artist.
Okay.
And I draw too. Like I sketch and shit.
Sure.
It's not amazing, but I was going to go to SUNY Purchase. That's where I was going to go. And I took and my mom was like a little worried about me going away to school because I was like an ADD kid. And at the time nobody knew fuck all about it. Now it's like, it's ridiculous that people would think like that. But so she was like, why don't you do a semester at Suffolk? And I took like a art class there and I hated it. So I said, I'm just going to change. And so I never even went, but I always wondered if I'd stuck with that, how it would have turned out.
Yeah. Okay.
So yeah, I guess kind of like literal, like comic book artist. Like that's like a plausible job to have. I know plenty of people that do that.
I wrote a question down, but you kind of delved into it a little bit when we talked about Mike Fails. I asked, my question was, what made you start comedy?
It was Mike Fails. I'll tell you the exact story. Yeah. This is actually a really nice story. We were at a Halloween party, at somebody's mutual Halloween party. You've been at this one before, actually. Which is actually, that was a Halloween party that we had to leave Zapetti at. not that year, but that was that. I can't believe I forgot that story right now. When I come back on, I'll remember that one. Let me finish this. So I didn't see him in a while, and we just, I was heading to go to your bachelor party. That was like the next, because I was like,
oh yeah,
like or something October, like I was heading to the. That was because that was like the next week I was leaving for a week, and I said, hey. Told them like, hey, I gotta go and everything, but like when I get back, I have to go to Georgia. I told them I was going to your bachelor party and everything, and I said, listen, when I get back, I'm gonna hit you up. We're gonna hang out. And I was like, and it was I've said that a few times to some people, to be fair, and I've never really meant it, but I meant it with Mike. I really did. I mean, that makes me sound like a shitty person, and maybe I am, but like, I just forget. Not in.
When you just decided to do comedy, it just came out of left field.
It's the only thing that made sense for
me. But it came out of left field for me as a spectator of all of this, because it was like, this makes total sense, but you never once described any kind of aspiration for it. It just kind of into it.
Quite the contrary.
Again, outside, I don't know how you were feeling inside when it came down to it. Maybe it was something you wanted to do.
Well, that's what I talked about with Mike.
Right.
When he was asking me, he's like, I'm starting to do stand-up. And I go, what? Really? And I just started telling him, like, dude, I've always wanted to do it. Like, here's the thing. You hang out with actors, you're going to talk about actor shit and everything. It was the same thing of like, I always had a stack of, and you know this, like, I always had a stack of comedy CDs.
Affinity for
Dice, man.
Exactly.
I've been a fan of Dice for years. I think Dice is great, man. I love Dice recorded one of my favorite comedy albums. If you haven't listened to it, fucking The Day the Laughter Died is fucking genius. Yeah. I love The Day the Laughter. That's just him.
But I mean, when it came to you, when I found out that you were doing this, I thought to myself, I'm like, he's going to do well with it because you have always been one of the most unique individuals I've ever met in my entire life.
I appreciate that.
No, it's actually 100% true. And
thanks for sucking my dick live on the air. Hear Jason Ibsen suck my dick live on the air. Tell me how good I am, Jason. Tell me how good I am. Yeah.
You're one of the most unique individuals I've ever met in my entire life.
I appreciate that, man. Thank you.
It's absolutely true because I can, and I think that's another reason why you have done. I think it's okay if I say this on the air.
What's that? Porn? Yeah, I mean, I've done porn before.
It's done well with ladies because you're an original human. You're an original human being, and I can understand.
I appreciate that.
I can understand the appeal to you because you're as unique. You are a unicorn. That's the best way. You're a punk rock unicorn. That's the best way I could describe you.
You sound like you want to fuck me. Now I'm really worried.
No, maybe it's the 6 beers that I drank. I don't know. All I know
6 beers?
Yeah.
I've had 2 sodas. I can't drink. I'm probably going to have a beer in a minute, though.
My whiskey company, okay? So just...
Anyway. Well, listen, I want to tell you the rest of this. So, Mike got me into it. Mike, you know what it is? I love acting. Mm-hmm. I really do. I mean that. I love acting. I do think that there's stuff about it that I don't like. But I think most people should just take an acting class just because, like, I like how it opens people up. I like how it makes them kind of discover stuff about themselves. I do. I appreciate that. All right. I always tell people, take a fucking acting class. You know what I mean? Like, you might learn some shit about yourself. Right. Mm-hmm. But like with me, my goal, I realized, especially when I got older, my goal really is just to, whatever I'm going to do, I really want to be myself. Mm. And as an entertainer or anybody who wants to be an entertainer, because I and this is going to sound so fucking, I don't really like calling myself as a comic because I feel like I'm still proving myself as a comic. I really feel that way. I don't feel like I've arrived anywhere, and I'm loving. I always be honest. I starved as an actor, man. I slept on couches. I was, scraping money together to get to California to go live there for 6 months. And it was, and Steven will be the first person to say this, how much did you really love it? And I was like, was it worth it? Yes. At the time, did I love it? It might have been nice to have a fucking, TV and not sleeping on my friend's fucking weird studio out in California and San Francisco when I didn't have and making it to rehearsal.
But that was an experience you needed to explore.
Yeah, but and I needed to do that because I do, and I love acting. I like performing and everything, but I love fucking making people laugh. Man, I can't tell you.
I say it comes so naturally to you because I can't think of. I mean, I can't put it on like the fingers on my hands as far as how many times you've had me in tears.
Thanks,
on the regular. On the apps, and it's not even you trying. It's not you. It's not a shtick of yours. It's just that I like so many times where I've cried in hysteria, and Cole and Dane. It just comes so easy to you.
Thanks, man. I appreciate that. It's just like, I think everybody's people. It's just, the worst thing someone asked me one time is someone asked me, "Oh, why are you doing stand-up?" Another way to kind of get into the acting door, and I was like, "No, I want to do this."
Right.
I honestly would just rather work as a club comedian and do that and make people laugh and sit with the other comedians and tell people to fuck off and make people and laugh. I want to be able to do that.
You never had to set the scene. You never had to do anything like that. All you had to do was just tell a quick thing and you would have all of us in stitches.
Thanks, man.
And that's just how
it's hard to channel that when you're really figuring this out. I'm still figuring it out.
But that's the point I'm trying to make is you never had to go set anything up. It's just who you are. And when I found out that you were doing this, I'm thinking to myself, this makes more sense than anything he's ever done before.
Actually, and this is again, I'm not. It's funny you say that, and I appreciate that. And no one ever told me like, hey, to be fair, like, hey, you should definitely be an actor. Like that always bothered me that no one ever told me like, like people would tell me I was talented. Like that was, but that was always different to me. You know what I mean? Like it was, I never felt like no one ever gave me my due is what I'm basically trying to say. People gave me my due, but it was weird to me that no one ever said, hey, I really feel like you should be doing this. When I started doing stand-up, people came up to me and said, hey, stick with this. That to me was reassuring because I have a lot of anxiety. I second guess.
You've honed in on a specific niche that you've found for yourself. Yeah, obviously acting is one of the things that you and I wanted to do and stuff like that, as well as our mutual friends. But when we honed in on the actual comedic element of it and thinking to ourselves, hey, wait a minute, Joe's able to do this regularly. Joe's been able to go ahead and have us wet ourselves without even breaking a sweat. Why isn't he doing this on the regular?
Yeah, and I asked myself sort of that same question. I didn't say like, hey, I'm cracking everybody up, because I feel like everybody's like, oh, I'm so funny with my friends. I might as well, because it wasn't the same. It's not, it's not the same thing.
No,
but like,
right, of course.
I've written stuff forever. In fact, when Mike said you should do it, and I said like, I would write jokes now. Actually, the first time I ever did stand up was at ACTF. This is a fun little side note. They would have those parties where they do like a cabaret thing where it's like they would do like an open mic.
Yeah. I know what you're talking about.
And I was at the bar with, I'll say her name because she's a friend of mine and she's a wonderful person. It was the last ACTF I went to and my friend Nancy was there. Mm-hmm. And Nancy, I think you've met her once. Have you met her before?
A couple times, yeah.
Yeah, she's a friend of mine. She's good. She's actually faculty. When I met her, she was faculty and we've since become friends and everything. And she was there, and I was just, that was another instance where I was sitting there and I wasn't talking about theater. I started talking about stand-up. I would have these moments with people, which is why I said I probably just didn't do it because I convinced myself that I should just be an actor. And I never wanted to try anything else. I said, no, I'm just an actor. I'm going to get real with you for a minute. I'm just an actor. And I would always stand up was that if I was still an actor and you said I could try something else, I would say stand up. You know what I mean? Like instead of comic book thing, I do kick myself in the ass because I should have started doing it when I was 18. I should have started doing it when I was 25.
I'm going to stop you right there because you wouldn't have been ready at that point.
No, but I wish
I understand what you're trying to say, but you weren't ready at that point. The experiences that you've had, the joy, the heartache, the experiences that you've had throughout that time put you in this position to go ahead and do it at this point.
Fair, Dr. Phil. That's fair. But yeah, like it's really easy to go out there and do those like airplane jokes, doing the same type of airplane jokes. When you do comedy, you realize there are easy jokes you can always go to, like little things that you can do. Some people basically try to, do that all the time. And it comes off as it's just easy comedy. It's hacky. It's not you. It's not your voice. It's not your view of the world. You know what I mean? This little philosophy that you carry around, it ceases to be that. It's just you saying these, because comedy has evolved all the time. It was that at one point, but now it's all about your voice and your philosophy in the world and everything like that.
You got a show coming up. Why don't you tell us about that?
Yeah, I'm going to be at Mohegan Sun November 5th. At Comics Roadhouse, and I'm gonna give a shout out to. I probably won't listen to this, but in case he does, there we go. This is actually Jeff Wade's Comedy at Large. He's a comedian that works at Comics Roadhouse. It's he's presenting the show. The headliner is going to be a guy I know, a friend of mine, actually the guy who books me most of my stuff, John Butera, and I'm actually hosting this. This is my first hosting gig. I'm hosting this show, so I will be there. I'll actually, instead of getting one dose of Joe, you can get there's a bunch of me going to be popping out throughout the night in between each set and everything. It's going to be awesome.
Hang on a minute. We have a special guest calling in right now. Hey, you're live on the What Are We Doing Here podcast.
I'm live?
You're live.
Oh my God, I'm live.
Can I call you back?
I'm so excited right now. Thank you. Thank you, Mom. I want to thank a few people while I'm still here. Thank you. God bless America. Land of the free, home of the brave.
Very good. Okay. All right. I'll call you back.
All right.
Love you. Goodbye. If we have to edit it, we edit it. It's no big deal. You know what's so funny is we've currently beaten Carl's podcast. I'm just putting that out there.
You're going to edit 4 hours.
But real quick, since he called in, what are you looking forward to for our Vegas trip?
What am I most my perfect Sunday? What is I most looking? I was honestly just I was looking forward to buying legal weed from Wiz Khalifa's store and fucking staring at lights and just like, because like I had no aspirations. I was like, I'll just walk around and look at shit. I don't care. You know what I mean? I told you, I said I wanted to go and have like I wanted to like do like a little kind of like wanted to fuck off from everybody else at one point and just be like, let's go to fucking.
You wanted to do brunch with me.
Yeah, I was like, let's go to brunch. It'll be weird and we'll be we can be gay with each other. It'll be great.
Yeah.
And then we come back all arrested and shit. Like,
right,
and
exactly.
like, where'd you guys go? And we're like, oh, nowhere. Like, we have a secret.
Yeah, exactly.
I was like, the whole thing was because like, I love doing that shit. I love like fucking off from the group and going and doing something. Not that I don't want to, but like that's why like because we went on your bachelor party, we went to fucking play golf. And I ended up riding around in a fucking go-kart with Cole's brother all day, who's my favorite little person. He's so short. He's a tiny little man, and he cannot play golf at all, but neither can I. Yeah. So like Carl can actually play golf. Dane can actually play golf. I was there with a 6-pack. And I think Christian bought another couple of beers when we got there.
You know, what's so funny about that is Christian was actually a golf pro at Sports Authority.
Dude, he sucked. That's right. No, he wasn't. But didn't he just kind of walk in and get the job?
He's like, yeah, motherfucker, I'm a pro golfer, and I'm qualified for the job.
Yeah, I remember he said that.
And they were like, you're hired. You got the job, buddy. He's the golf pro for Sports Authority, and he doesn't know how to play golf.
Only in America can you just walk in and lie your way into a Sports Authority job. It's crazy. only in America can something like that happen.
Oh God!
Only fucking in America can something like this. Anyway, but no, I was looking forward to. I was just kind of looking forward to smoking weed in Vegas, man. Like
you just wanted to explore.
I wanted to just go find weird shit, smoke weed. I wanted to go see but I wanted to do the really dumb Vegas shit. Like I legit wanted to go see like Celine Dion. Like I was like, let's go. Like you were talking about, it's like, I don't know, it's only Barry Manilow playing. I'm like, I'll take mushrooms, go see Barry Manilow. I'm gonna fuck. Like, let's see what happens, man. You know, but like, I'm just completely like, that's it. I'm just chill with that shit. Like I remember being excited, but I don't gamble. Like I don't. Right. It's weird. I have so many other vices.
Mm-hmm.
Gambling. No, and a lot of my friends do. Like a lot of people I know gamble. I like playing cards, but I like playing cards for fun.
Right.
I don't.
That was me when I went.
Yeah.
It's vastly different.
Yeah, hell, man, I'll play slots every once in a while, especially if it's like a Ghostbusters themed one because I'm a child.
Right.
But like, I don't really care. Like none of that shit. Like, not that I don't like. I don't hate casinos. They're actually really cool. You know what I mean? But like,
but hold on. So you are in for the best of both worlds tour, right?
I told you, hopefully if everything works out the way it is. Why are we talking about our fucking vacation?
I just want to get it on.
Right. So when we go, just, it'll be,
all right. So let's, you have any questions for me before we wrap up?
Yeah.
And this would be the time where Ibsen regretted asking Joe if he had any questions for him. Rob DeSario.
Shaylin comes in, honey, what's this fax about? Honey, it's just a joke. It's just a joke, honey.
Oh, Jesus.
I'm fine.
Do you remember?
I can only hear your voice.
What was that show that we did? And Tim's brother, Michael, he had that.
Oh, man, that was Tim's stroke of genius as he printed out the You're Fired
fax
from Back to the Future. He showed me that. He goes,
loved it.
Open it up. And I go, is this from Back to the Future? He goes, yeah, I thought it was a nice touch.
I pulled it. I opened that thing and I was like, this is fucking brilliant. And we didn't even pay any homage.
I'm
it was just for me.
I don't know why I'm laughing so hard about thinking about you as Marty McFly. But I can only picture you with like the two ties. Like the two ties.
Yeah. I'm going to have a very large bleep on this whole thing.
Oh my God. I'm so sorry. That's only funny to me. I'm crying thinking about you dressed as old man Marty McFly.
Just burnt out.
I'm fired. I can't be fired. Oh, I'm sorry. You have to. None of this makes. This is only funny to me. This is not funny to other people.
No, 100% have to bleep all this shit out. Thank you.
Well, it's only the.
I gave you one rule. I said.
No, I thought you meant as far as like I didn't know that meant we can't talk about what you do if we're working.
You fucking did it again.
You got 3.5 hours right now. You're not going live on CNN.
You did it again.
We're not going live on CNN.
It's gonna take me 3 weeks to edit. Oh God, Joe, do you have any other questions?
What time do we have to be? You can't do that. I love pissing people off. All right. Do I have any real questions? You just take all this out. You're just going to go. This is what's going to happen. It's going to cut to, you're going to say right now, would you have any questions for me before we wrap it up? And you're going to cut everything before that out. Go ahead. 1, 2, 3.
Joe, do you have any questions for me before we wrap up?
I have a really good question for you. You can find me on Instagram at Motley897. I'm more on. It's just easier for me to put pictures up than I have to think of stuff to write. So, I'm on there. But like I said, the only show I got come up right now is November 5th, Mohegan Sun. God willing, there'll be more as the year progresses, or I'm going to throw myself out a fucking window because it sucks. But yeah, that's pretty much it, man. Thanks for having me on. You're one of my oldest friends, and
thanks for coming,
like I said, if the episode is shit, I'll come back on and re-record it with you.
Thanks for coming on, Joe. I appreciate it. Look, episode 2 in the books for the What Are We Doing Here podcast. We promised we were going to keep it under an hour and a half, tops, hour and a half. Ibsen, it'll be an hour and a half, tops. But you know what? It's Joe Winchell. And if there ever was a word to describe Joe Winchell, unpredictable and typically late. So 4 words. Look, if you're able to go ahead and support him in his comedy at Mohegan Sun, please do so. God knows I wish I could be there, but lo and behold, I'm 850 miles away. Or at the very least, go ahead and check him out on Instagram or whenever he decides to come to your town. That's our show for this week. I'm Jason Ibsen. Ta-ta.